Atlanta, Georgia. The HBCU football capital hosts the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge on August 24th. Florida A&M Rattlers, Norfolk State Spartans. SWAC versus MEAC. The rivalry is real. Come out to Center Park Stadium to see the returning HBCU national champions and two of the best HBCU bands in the land, the Marching 100 and the Spartan Legion. The day starts with a kickoff fan experience tailgate and concludes with a primetime matchup on ABC. For more information, visit MEACSWACChallenge.com.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Florida A&M University Fan Day live right here fall season, baby, at Lawson Stadium. And right off the bat, Bryan Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, and joining us is our AD Tiffany-Dawn Sykes.
Hey, Rattlers!
How you doing?
I'm doing good. We have a great event today sponsored by our boosters to generate resources to support our student athletes. And now we're having Fan Day, which has been open to the community for everyone to come out and have a chance to meet and greet our student athletes and get the schedules for the upcoming year, because it is time.
It is.
The season is here.
It is. Are you excited about the start of another season? I mean, you're a sports person, so I know this is that time where you can get really behind what's about to happen.
Yeah, I'm excited. So usually I start getting excited at the second session of summer school, because that's when our student athletes start coming in and working out with the strength and conditioning coaches and their coaches on a limited basis. And then when we're really in the meat of camp, summer school's over, kickoff's about 2 weeks away, first serve's about 2 weeks away. I'm excited.
Nice.
Why is this important, and what do you think about the turnout?
So both of these events are equally important because, as you know, in athletics, in the state of Florida, we have to generate all the revenue to support our student athletes. And we've been able to rely on the boosters, the FAMU Foundation, the 220 Quarterback Club, the National Alumni Association to really close the gaps and help us meet the needs of our student athletes. But also events like this that just invite the community in and allow them to cultivate relationships with our student athletes so they know who they're cheering for in the stands are equally important.
Right. Okay, so you got to let the people know what and how.
Hold on, but can we talk about my volleyball earring? Can I get a little
commercial? What position did you play when you were a volleyball star?
So I was recruited as a middle blocker, but I wanted to be a utility player. So I'm ranked in the top 10 at Virginia State in blocks, assists, kills, and service aces. I actually still have the career record in service aces at Virginia State.
Okay, all right. Talk that talk.
Right. Okay, definitely. When we look at our volleyball squad, how excited are you? I mean, I feel like we're going to the SWAC championship for the fourth consecutive year. But when you look at this squad, what kind of excitement do you have for what Coach Gokhan has brought in?
Yep, I had the opportunity. I started my day in football practice and then moved to volleyball practice when they started. And I got to spend some time with the team. I got some time to talk to the team. And the volleyball coach says it's the best team that he's coached since he's been here.
Wow.
So I'm expecting an appearance in the championship game and a win in the championship game this year, because that's what Coach Gilman said.
Yeah, that's what he said. Right.
None of those exact words. I'm putting a few words to his mouth, but that's what I'm expecting.
Why don't you kind of plug this football season, champion package, things you need from Resignation?
Oh yeah, if you have not purchased your Investing in Champions package, you need to do so, because we're running out of inventory, right? Everyone wants to come see the champions play. We try to create an opportunity for you to do that, and those Investing in Champions packages did exactly what they were supposed to do. We said invest in champions, and what did they become?
Champions.
Yeah.
So we need you to continue that investment so we can generate more championships.
I love it. I mean, everything from this event to everything we're doing, first class, and I mean, we just got to keep building it. And Resignation, you guys just got to keep pouring in the support. Yeah. I mean, because the more support that you guys pour in to our athletic programs, our coaches, our players, We're gonna have champions won around here all day. More rings, right?
More rings.
Where's your rings?
I didn't put on any rings today, but there will be plenty of opportunities for me to have them on full display. We're looking forward to giving the women's indoor track and field team their rings that are back to school badge for our student athletes on the first week of class. And the details aren't out yet, but for our HBCU national champion golf team, we having a party.
Really?
We're having a party. So you heard it here first, but it's going to be first up is kind of event here.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you for your time. First guest of the afternoon. So we appreciate you and
thank you.
Enjoy the day. Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
All right, there it is. The AD stopped by, coming in to say, hey, I mean, that's the kind of love that ONG StrikeZone gets right off the bat.
When that picture hits your inbox, it might be time to go ahead and get your resume put together. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ONG Strike Zone. Bryan Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, and joining us is AD Drew. And what you saw was the final interview for Florida A&M Athletic Director Tiffany-Dawn Sykes on Saturday at Fan Day. Wow. Welcome to the ONG Strike Zone, ladies and gentlemen. Kelvin, I don't know what to think. I was glad that she was the first guest on. I was glad that she came. I know a lot of people are glad that she's gone. Initial thoughts from Fan Day, which was Saturday, and we got a lot to talk about as we try to process all of the news from Dr. Timothy Beard's cleaning of the house, and which resulted in AD Tiffany-Dawn Sykes' resignation. Your thoughts, Kelvin?
I got my McDowell hat on, brother. Cause when you think of cleaning, you think of Dr. Beard. Cause he is cleaning the house. First I'll say this though. You don't want to see anybody lose their job. I don't think this is necessarily a referendum on the AD, a former AD, and her skill sets. Obviously there were some challenges and there was a fit issue. And there was a bunch of public mishaps. So we kind of understand. We knew this. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. We knew this moment was coming, and I think she'll go on and do well, just like a lot of other ADs that have left FAMU and are doing well. We still have to. FAMU still has some things they need to change operationally and budget wise, so that we can be more successful. But at the end of the day, we understand, what's going on. And what I tell you, what I do appreciate, I like the fact that, Dr. Beard is communicating, as things happen. He's meeting with the media. He's, explaining his rationale with things. He's meeting with, faculty, and I hear some town halls coming. So, he's transparent. And there's a plan, right? We have an interim AD. Some of the other changes that have been made, we have people in place already who are actually qualified and have the skill sets to do the job. So I'm optimistic that there's some things we need to improve and get better. And that meant change. We couldn't get better being the same way with the same leadership. So overall, I think he's done a good job. And I have to point out, a lot of people jumped the gun. I don't know why they took things literally, and like the whole leadership team was just going to be canned on the same day, and we had no leadership at the university. I can't understand why people took that route and why they even thought that, but obviously some people did take that route, and thus far, it's proven thus far to be just strategic, right? You've got a communications person. Everybody saw the report. You've got the AD. Everybody know that history. You got university general counsel. A lot of things been happening at the university, and you've got the lobbyists. We got $0 pico dollars last year from the state of Florida. So I mean, I think that kind of speaks to the mindset of the new leadership. You got to produce, and it probably is not the last thing, but those who are around and remain, they have opportunity to make their case.
AD Drew, my Sunday co-host of the BCSN Sports Wrap, and a part-time professor on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, and a Rattler first among all things. And Drew, how this news kind of hit you?
My emotions have been all over the place over the last 36 hours or so since we found out this announcement. First, I'll go back to the video. And I think you were the first person I text. I say, Bryan, do we have the last interview that she did as FAMU Athletic Director? And I don't know if it had clicked on you at that point, because the three of us were there. You two guys did the interview. I produced the interview for the ONG StrikeZone. And I don't know why that just clicked on me. Like, wow. I mean, we just saw her 48 hours before all of this information dropped. So that was the first thing. But, for me, my emotions have been all over the place. And I don't know how to do this except come straight out and shoot this straight. And some people, this may not be appropriate, but for me, this is how I feel. A lot of us have had that family member who has been off the chain, off the rails, getting in trouble, you name it, it has happened to them. That's kind of how I feel about Florida A&M right now. And when that family member that you has, they may wind up having to go to jail for a couple of nights. All kinds of things may happen to this person. And everybody who knows you're affiliated with that person and knows that person, sit there and just talk about that person. Yeah, he wasn't raised right, or he always been a troublemaker, and they just talk about him. And you have to sit here and take all that crap that they talk about your loved one, be it your family member or be it a good personal friend. And you have to sit here and take that crap. That's kind of how I feel about Florida A&M right now. I am seriously suffering from FAMU fatigue. Going all the way back to December, I went from the high of a national championship to, you kind of thought Willie was going to take advantage of this opportunity, and you would be stupid to think that Willie was not going to take advantage of the opportunity. But everything that came along with him taking advantage of that opportunity, into the coaching search, into the stories that came out about what was it, the bowling?
Oh, yeah. It's been a heck of a 2024, without a doubt. I mean, we'll get into the timeline here. You did a great job. I mean, when you look at this timeline, man, it is like, wow. I mean, has it been is it 20 months? What is it, 18 months? How long has it been?
It's 19 and a half to be exact.
19 and a half months. So not even a full 20 months, but man, what a run. What
But
a run.
let
Good
me
and
finish.
bad. Highs and lows. All over the
Let
place.
me finish because I really need this therapy right now. I need therapy. I need to vent. I need to get this off my chest, and I need to talk to somebody. So going through all these highs, all these lows, the basketball coach search, the fiasco with the contract with the basketball search, and Jeremy Gate, the fallout from Jeremy Gate, all of it. I am tired of seeing my loved one, my beloved Florida A&M University, go through what they're going through. And even worse than them going through what they're going through, I am tired of everybody on the outside telling me how I should feel, telling us where we have messed up, telling us what we need to do. And just like with that loved one, and I have lived this with loved ones who have gone through some serious trauma. You can't tell me how to react. You can't tell me what I should have done. Do I look back at it and say, I wish I would have done other things? Yeah, you beat yourself up over that stuff every day. But in that moment in time, you made the best decision that you felt that you needed to make to protect your loved one. I, as an alum, as a Rattler supporter, as a member of the media, have made the best decisions that I can to support my beloved family and my beloved Rattlers. And, some people I watched at least 5 different podcasts related to the FAMU news yesterday, along with 2 other Twitter spaces or lives or whatever. Some of it was good information, a lot of misinformation, a lot of opinions, good, bad, ugly, indifferent. And there's a lot. FAMU, you got a lot of people getting their lights up off of us. We need to cut this shit out.
Well said, Drew.
Yeah.
Well said. So again, hello to everybody joining us. We got a loaded show, a lot of people that we want to get in and talk to, a lot of different things here. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and the like button if you're watching us on YouTube via the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page, or my JBN Online, or on the ONG YouTube page. On Facebook, we say hello to everybody on Black College Sports Network or the ONG StrikeZone page. Hello to people watching on Instagram Live, those watching on X. We appreciate you. Come on into the chat rooms and be cautious in the chat room. That's all I'm gonna tell you. It's a no tolerance Wednesday. It's a no tolerance Wednesday. So you come in with some shiggity, you will get kicked out. I've already given Dr. Lori the thumbs up. If you come in wrong, if you come in hot, you'll be outside the door looking through the window.
Keep it to
I
facts.
put a poll.
Keep it to facts, y'all. Just keep it to facts.
Opinions are okay, but don't get too crazy and personal. I put a poll up in the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page, and I asked the simple question: how would you grade Tiffany-Dawn Sykes' job as AD at FAMU over the past 20 months? A, B, C/D, or F+. Our good friend Dr. Gaville always loves the F+. So
F squared. It's F squared.
F squared. Kelvin, would you care to chime in there? What grade would you give AD Sykes?
Well, given the fact she didn't complete her term and the multiple fiascos, I give her some credit. I want to talk about, we know the negatives, so I talk about some of the positives. She got it right with the women's basketball coach.
Coach Pressure.
Yeah, that was Coach Gordon. Yeah, she also has even though she wasn't totally responsible, the compliance side of athletics. We had 6 teams with 1,000 in APR. So, it happened on her watch. So she gets that. We won a lot of championships. Not a lot of those coaches was there in place already, but it happened on her watch. So, I give her that. I see a lot of C's in here. No fundraising, all the major fiascos, the coaching failures. We looking for a softball and a bowling coach currently. We lost a championship football coach. It's a D for me.
Okay. Drew, care to weigh in here quickly?
I just got a question. Should we be grading her on the curve? And the reason I say that is she lasted about as long as anybody else has lasted at FAMU over the last decade and a half. So should we be grading her on a curve? And let's be real. A lot of people don't want to talk about this. She was a female running our athletic department. And she had some challenges that honestly, her male counterparts prior to her did not have.
I don't know about that.
Whether those hold on, let me say this. Now, whether those were of her own doing, or whether that was people not wanting to give her the respect that her position commanded.
Drew.
Yeah.
No, the discussion is, hey, we done had about 10 ADs in 14 years. So it don't.
I got it for you. Hold on, Kelvin.
So,
I got it.
Exactly.
There it is, right there.
There it is. So the narrative of gender, is just don't need to be a part of this because that had nothing to do with it.
But it's going to be, Kelvin.
It doesn't. But Kelvin.
Hey,
if you look at the slide, she's
are
the
we
only
talking about
female
facts?
on the slide.
Are we talking about
on the slide?
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with what happened during her tenure. At the end of the day, facts are facts. She had a job to do, and she didn't do that job very well most of the time. That has nothing to do with gender. That's what she got graded on. So I don't care if other people push that narrative. On this platform, we're not going to push that narrative. We're going to push the facts.
There it is.
I'm just listening to some of the people who were on the inside who have voiced their concern.
The devil don't need no advocate. He got plenty of them already.
Look, I agree with Kelvin. I agree with Kelvin to that respect. But I do understand what you're saying, Drew. I do understand because it is there. It's tough to say if it is a factor because there were so many other things. There's so many just little fumbles and drops that it's hard to put it all in the bag of she was a female, she was the first, we were this, we weren't. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of agree with Kelvin there. I
have to ask the question though.
Well, the question is,
you have to ask the question.
I don't
now,
have
whether it's valid or not is another question. But you have to at least raise the question. I think that's wrong. I think when you have to ask that question, that means you're looking for that as a reason why. And I'm saying I'm going to stand now. Again, I'm standing where I'm standing. I'm you know me. I've been wrong before. Whatever. But I'm going to stand on that side and say I don't think it's a factor because people will say maybe she wasn't qualified. She had flaws in terms of fundraising. That was evident. But she had other strengths, right? So I don't think there. Who knows if I don't know. I'd have to go back and think about was there a perfect candidate who was great in all of these areas? You know what I'm saying? And so I'm, final thought, Drew, and then I want to get to our guest because I don't want to keep him on. So I'm a real quick point, Drew, real quick, 1 minute, real quick. All right. The question is, you don't want to bring it, but I still want to bring it up. How many of us have been the only person in the room that looks like us, and we get it's performance, but there were other challenges that you cannot quantify that led to us with covert things that were going on that weren't blatant. I just asked the question. I'm not looking for an answer from anybody. Right. I have to ask the question.
Okay, fair enough. Let me bring our first guest in tonight. You know him well in many other places and spaces, but first and foremost, he's a Rattler. So we bring in, as he's affectionately sometimes called, the Bishop Campbell. We bring in none other than Mr. Steve Campbell. Brother Campbell, how you doing this evening? Already shaking your head. Coming in.
Bro, listen. Listen. Drew, I love you, and I think you're excellent. But I got to say one thing. Bryan, you are class personified. And I want to just say this really quickly because I know we got to get moving. But your response, and I'm going to keep it, everybody knows Scott is like a son to me. But your response to him was Florida A&M perfect. You stood on your business. You stated it. And what you did, unlike a lot of people, because you are grown, we all in the same age range, you kept it moving. And I just want to tell you, I appreciate that you being a leader in this space of saying, hey, I have a disagreement. This is a disagreement, but we're going to keep it moving. Because as you can see, I got my freshman class 8A brother shirt on, Kofi. Amen. He was part of this show. I actually put Kofi over there with Scott because Scott didn't know what the hell he was talking about when it came to HBCUs. And I said, I'm going to give you a mentor to help you navigate these waters that you're about to drown in. So this show right here means a lot to me because this show was a connection that helped Scotty's show actually jump off. So I just wanted to say to you, my brother, I respect you and I appreciate you how you handled that. And I, like I said, I don't want to hear like, Scotty, that's Steve's, but yeah, there's my guy. There's no lie. Because I try to talk to him every day to be a better person. But you were the better man in that situation. And I just want to give you that. I just want to put that out there. Now, let me get to my head shaking. Okay. Listen, I work in a business around women. I know sexism when I see it. Okay. We had other candidates that was female. That was a woman. Let me say that, whatever is correct. That was a woman. I guarantee you there would not have been an issue. We have other women in high leadership positions at FAMU that work with this person. There was no problem saying the board of trustees, head is a woman. This person is a woman. Shantae Friday is a woman. This comes down to plain and simple execution and lack of consensus building. And the thing that I would honestly, because Dawn Sykes is around my daughter's age, and this is a learning lesson. When you come into a new space, the two things I always learn from all my mentors is shut up and find you somebody that's going to help you navigate the waters. Mm-hmm. And the thing what we did not see, and I'm going to use it as I'm a fact person. I'm going to use the article that came out of North Carolina from a friend of hers. Because we didn't call her original big girl, OBG. We didn't do that. Her friend did that. Yes. And she said, and I quote, the FAMU alumni have met their match. Like this was a competition. Right. This was no competition. We're supposed to be working together for the greatness of FAMU. So when you start an antagonistic relationship, that's one thing about a rally. Do you really want the rally to strike? No, you don't. So if you learn, so let's kind of walk through this timeline. You had the situation with Coach Simmons. You had a guy that you wanted to get. Okay, fine, that didn't work out. But then you don't look where you saying your stakeholders with the basketball situation. Did you sit down and say, hey, let me just run this by you? I've got a great guy, in my opinion, that I could take lead family. Let me just tell you who he is. Let me just let you meet him. Socialize people with your ideas and who you think. Because then people are like, you know what? He's not a bad guy. I kind of like the guy. You know what? I'm going to bless it. I'm going to support you. But when you start going and say, I'm going to do it my way or the highway, the road gets very rocky. It is not a good path to success. So that's my thing. It had nothing to do with her being a woman. It had a lot to do with not building consensus and not honestly just sitting back and saying, let me understand the FAMU culture. Because those are the things that I want everybody to be successful that's associated with FAMU. I want anybody that has anything to do with HBCU. People know this. HBCUs are my legacy since 1938. I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. It's no secret. I came to FAMU in 1980. I am sitting here because of people from FAMU kept me up when I was down. I love FAMU. When I didn't have a dime, a FAMU brother gave me a dime. And we all know what that means. So when we have a situation where we have an AD, where people reached out and say, hey, let me help you. And then you kind of see that help not being accepted. And then you start seeing things where there is contacts with people that we all know and love that are of high level, and the interactions are not correct. And I'm not going to mention no names. We know what we're talking about. Those are not the building blocks to be greatness. And that's why I think we all were upset about, because nobody came in there, oh, I don't want her to succeed. That's not what FAMU is. Now, I'm going to say something else too. And Drew, this is to you, bro. You know, I watch all the show, and all these people do the show there. Everybody knows that I'm the big on. I talk to all of them. And I talk to all of them. But here's the thing that you guys got to understand. As somebody that grew up in the SWAC, because we're not in the SWAC, it's a different mentality. And let me tell you something about you Rattlers. That brag different is a different thing. It's very brash, it's in the face, and we have a right to, because of the achievements of our alumni and our school. That don't take well to everybody. So guess what? When they feel that we done caught a L, they're going to make it a bigger L. But that doesn't bother me, because you know what I know? The one thing about it is never going to change. We still the #1 public HBCU, and we beat all their asses last year.
Amen.
So see, so what can you do but be upset? So we had a situation that many schools have. This is not the first time an AD got fired. This is not the first time a president has been relieved. And let's keep it, keep it 100. But we internalize it, because I'm gonna go back to Bryan. Bryan made the point. I know these people. I trust these people. So I know why he said what he said. He stood on that. What I had a problem with, and I will say this to Scotty and to the guy from Howard, that guy from Howard that wrote that article, he didn't write that for the love of HBCUs. He wrote that to get clout. That's the problem. Now, if you wrote that saying, hey, I want to see FAMU be better, and you wrote it from that angle, then I will respect that. But no, you wrote that because you wanted to try to hurt us, because you wanted to say, hey, look at me. Because nobody knew who that guy was. And then he called around and he wants to get on Rolling Martin and things like that. See, bro, you can't hustle a hustler. It's the same thing with people that started writing articles about FAMU people being misogynistic. I said, and I told, and people know, I said, I went on show. I said, I will give you $500 at your school to debate me, to show me where misogyny was at. I never got anybody to take that offer up, because I know, because I work with women. Women tell me already, I see it happen. I've defended women. So I know what this thing looks like. This is not what that is. So when we get on here and we make a criticism that is fair, the fundraising, it wasn't us that said it. We watched a board meeting, and this is what was great about this platform. All you guys streamed that board meeting. There was a question: what are you going to do to close the gap on fundraising? The answer was raffle tickets. That is not a misogynistic answer. That's an incompetent answer. That has nothing to do with a woman. Because if a man had said that, we all would have been outraged.
Yep.
When we had a situation with Coach Simmons, now if Coach Simmons was going to leave, that's fine. But rattlers rattle around and say, you know what? We're going to make it hard for you. But then we start finding out, did he really get the offer? Did we even try to, put him in a position where it was close? Now we all know it's rumors, whatever. But I'm comfortable, because as you know, I know people. I'm comfortable enough to know there was mistakes made, and even in that situation, right? We go that route.
Yep.
Then we go with the football situation. So it's fine. You are the AD, and people say, let her do her job. But here is the thing: we have a championship team. What did Michigan do? They hired from within, right? That's what they did. Continuity. Continuity matters. Because we knew if Coach Coles or maybe Coach Rose or somebody we would have had, just like Jack said, 80 people in the portal. We have a talented team. So you have to weigh the pros and cons. Do we keep a coach, which again, Coach Cozy is taking his first endeavor, and keep the talented team and believe in our coaching staff? Because Coach Simmons wasn't the only one that coached that team last year, right?
Right.
We had championship coaches that coached. So we saw that. And then you say, well, let me bring a guy in. This is no disrespect, because actually I'm going to be interviewing Coach Gibbs in an hour. He's not on the highest level. He just started, and you want us to take a chance and then rebuild? I don't think we should take that risk. Or if you're going to stand on this person, then you show me why that person is great. Then you sell them to the people. to the F Club, to the Booster Club, to the 220 Club. I'm not any of those people, but those are people that you're going to go ask money from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have those people socialize with Coach Gibbs. Coach Gibbs is a great coach. I think Coach is just a better coach for Florida A&M University. That's my opinion. And I believe he's going to prove that right. Now, with the same thing with the basketball coach, we have people on that board that are older people. So names mean something to old people. They don't know younger people. So if you're going to give people a not name, then what I would do is I'm going to prepare a packet of all my candidates so you can review who they are. So when I say the name, you're just not like why we didn't get Lindsey Hunter, because I knew he played for the Lakers. Why we didn't get Henry Bibby? I knew he played for the 76ers, and all these different names, right, that people were throwing out there. Because they just knew the name. They didn't know their coaching style.
Mm-hmm.
But what you do is, then this is what I'm talking about, experience. See, we have experience. See, I know that if you don't know something, I better give you all the information, especially if I'm trying to get you to come to my side.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the things that had nothing to do with a woman. These are things that had to do with probably a little bit of inexperience.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But once again, if you saw what happened with the football coach, I'm not going to let that happen with the basketball coach. And then in public spaces, because one thing, and people will tell you, y'all ain't going to know if I got $1 million or $5 in my pocket, because you're never going to catch me slipping. And when you get in public forums, let's go back to the basketball coach. Oh, I did not know he could get hired at this time. I thought I could do this. You're doing this in very public forums in front of your bosses. That does not portray confidence. When you don't know the rules, when people say this is part of the things you're supposed to know, right? You're the AD. These are things that you got to know. When can people be hired? When can people be fired? What is the standard that you need to have? So these are the things, Drew, that I think people had issue with. And see, everything that I named had nothing to do with her personality, did it? Not one time. And see, that's the thing. And I got on every show because, again, there were people that, quote unquote, said they are journalists that was pushing this narrative. Well, people don't want to have that conversation about Messiah. I said I would have that conversation any place, anytime. Because I know these people. Like, I'm like, Bryan, I know these people. I've known these people for 30 plus years. So you're not going to tell me if they're like that. I mean, we don't move like that. Women have been leaders at Florida A&M since the beginning of time. So now all of a sudden we're going to switch up and say we don't like women? Oh, she's a woman, we're going to give her a harder time? I think, I'll be honest with you, I think most rattlers will say, no, we're going to help you even more. Because we know on the outside they would treat you bad. Not in here, not in the Rattlers den. We're going to treat you right. So that's my thing that I wanted to say. And, I love what you guys do because you guys bring FAMU information to the FAMU people. And this is a FAMU space. But the one thing I always tell Rattlers, and I'm going to say to all my Rattlers, we are Rattlers. So don't be like a lot of these other fan groups. Because we do brag different. Don't worry about what somebody says, especially when they don't know you. If they don't pay your bills or help you get a job, what are they doing? Just talking. So I never worry about when people call me out all the time. Oh, where's Mr. Campbell at? Where's he at? I had people literally on a podcast say that a FAMU education was worthless.
Wow.
I had people talking about the law school, and I had to let people know our law school, because and I'm not going off on tape, but I want people to set the record straight. You have people talking about our law school. Our law school is based on the American Bar Association for law schools is measured on the second year passing of the bar. You know which HBCU has the best second year passing rate? We do. We're above the number, not anybody else. So if you go look at Texas Southern, Southern Central, we do. But people don't want to say that. They want to look at the first year and not even know what the rules of the street are. So I'm not going to let you talk about my school. See, you can say what you want as long as it's factual. You can say that. I have no problem with it. But when you say things that work, and we got people that are in this chat that I know that are multi-million-dollar business owners, CEOs, E-suite execs, teachers, doctors, lawyers. And every time we look up, is somebody, I'll tell you this, and I told my Jack State people, it's a person from FAMU that gave a Jack State person a job. We had a person over ABC News. You know what she promoted? The dude from Jackson State to go to move up. But that's what we're supposed to do. But I said, don't ever say that Rattlers are not moving and shaking. And don't think, when people say, well, they deserve that. Deserve what? Now, we're all HBCUs.
All right.
So we deserve, when everybody's mission was to educate the Negro, the slave, and we deserve something? No, I don't. Bryan doesn't deserve anything to happen to him. Drew doesn't deserve, or Kelvin. We deserve greatness. So if Jackson State needs help, we should help them.
Right.
If Bethune-Cookman needs help, we should help them. But you shouldn't say, because FAMU has now become one of the best ranked schools. We ain't just the best AP. We're in the top 100. Y'all do realize that we are ranked higher than every SEC school but 3. That says something. That doesn't happen just over a year. That's going back to 1887. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're doing these things and people, and this is what disappointed me, because like I tell people, the internet and this YouTube and Twitter space is a very small part. I'm from Jackson. I know, like I say, I know Jackson folks. 99% of the people Jackson folks are not on the social media, but you will let 8 people determine what Jackson State people are.
You're right. It's about 8 of them.
It's like, you know what I'm saying? You're going to let 20 people determine what Southern are. Or Grambling. I had to tell you had the Grambling people, and people know I sponsor Grambling. Them Grambling people love me. Oh, what you know about Grambling? And then I showed them the pictures with the president and the band director and all those people. I said, I know these people better than you do. Stop talking about Grambling people don't like FAMU people. That's not true. They treated me because they said, you know what Grambling people said? You from FAMU. Now we're going to try to beat you in football, but we glad you're here and we're going to support you. It's the same thing when I go to Jackson. It's the same thing if you guys go. You guys know this, but we allow empty buckets to make the most noise.
Mm-hmm.
So while these platforms are great, because I'm going to say this again, and then I'm going to shut up. When I was at FAMU, and I was down there when Dion was there, and we would listen to this little rinky-dink AM radio station, and all they talk about is FSU. And we call it just to talk about FAMU, just to make them white people mad. We didn't have these platforms, man.
That's
well,
right.
we could actually talk about FAMU. I wish, man, I'm a sports junkie. I'm an HBCU sports junkie. I can tell you everybody but draft from FAMU, Jackson State, Southern, basketball, football, because that's what I grew up watching. I saw every great HBCU player play. So that's my thing. I didn't care nothing about Mississippi State and Ole Miss, Florida State, Miami. I was a Miami fan because they were all black. That's why I like Miami. They had a lot of brothers. But I'm a Rattler, man. I was born a Tiger. I support Grambling. Those are the guys I care about. So we've got these spaces, and we got to utilize these spaces for the positivity to make an impact, not go on a show and have a 3-hour show. So I try to tell the people from FAMU, they should know better. You know what I mean? That's not what that space is for. That's not what it is. So, man, I just wanted to say that because I am in all these, and like I said, when I say I love all my nieces and nephews because they're doing a great job. But I want to set the record straight. This is not where this should be at. Where Drew said, I'm watching stuff and it's giving me that feeling. You should be able to watch it because you want to learn about whatever school they're talking about. There's a reason why people watch the OG StrikeZone. They want to learn about FAMU. They should. I watch, everybody knows Ken is on my boys. I watch them because they talk about Jackson State. Watch them every night. I sure do. So my thing is, I'm about the positivity, and let's reset this thing. And my last thing is, let's get an AD. And I'm going to put the names out there because I'm that guy, and I don't care what nobody say. Everybody knows Marvin Green is my classmate.
There you go.
Angela Suggs is my people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, those are people that I would turn this thing so quick. If one of those people came to AD,
it's time.
Where FAMU National will rally around there, and they'd raise $500,000 without blinking.
It's time.
Without blinking. So we need to stop playing around and understand that sometimes you need people to know the people.
Yes.
Because I will say for both, do you think that Marvin Green would have had this problem with the stakeholders?
Can't see it.
Marvin Green is a stakeholder. Do you think Angela Suggs would have had this problem? She is a stakeholder.
Can't see it, right?
You don't think Marvin wouldn't have known? Let's say Marvin would have wanted to hire Sean Gibbs. I would respect, but you know what Marvin would have did? He said, "Nah, listen here, guys, because I have been student activities, golf coach, this, over this. I can know how you guys are. Let me tell you why I think this guy would be great for FAMU. And people will respect that. If he goes and says, I'm trying to sell champion package, Marvin Green ain't going to talk about raffle tickets. Marvin Green is going to call his freshman class 88 and say, hey, listen, I need at least 10 of y'all to buy these champion packs. Angela Suggs is going to call her 87 freshman class and her Delta says, I need y'all to buy those champion packages. These are the things that we need to move forward. Because sometimes if you don't know the man, you can't talk about the man. And you know, that's where we're at. So man, I just wanna say that. And yeah, and Angela Suggs is a woman. Can y'all believe that? I'm talking about a woman. Isn't that amazing?
Are you serious?
I just found that out. I went to school with her and just found that out. Because you know why I say that jokingly? Because she's always been talented. Marvin has always been talented. Marvin been that dude since he walked out from Chicago. I've known Marvin for day one. That's a man that I respect. And I know he ain't gonna do FAMU no harm. And that's the biggest thing right now. So I'm off my soapbox.
Well, that's why we brought you on, so you can get that out.
Go ahead and give the plugs, Campbell, Mr. Campbell. Go ahead and give those plugs. Let people know where they can find you. And you mentioned that you got to do a show coming up, so get the plugs in.
Hey man, I am on HBCU Coaches Corner. HBCU Coaches Corner with Johnny Cole, and we're bringing all the HBCU coaches. And what we're doing, we're having real conversations. No foolishness. Grown folks talk. We ask the question that people want to ask. Hey, if all y'all need any women or guys, and yeah, is this new world, need some hair, go to iweavehair.com, because we always donate money to FAMU. We've given FAMU over $5,000 just from the sales, and we're going to keep that going. So all I'm just telling all my rattlers, man, just relax. Don't take everything personal, and keep bragging different, man. That's all I got to say, man. And I love you, brothers. I'm gonna say this again. And you guys, I will say, Bryan, you know, I've texted you, tell me you talk, and draw the same thing. If you ever need me, bro, I'm always a phone call away, because my number's public. It'll never be private.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, man. Talk to y'all.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
All right. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, awesome. Before I bring on our next guest, I know Vaughn Wilson is in the background. We're gonna wait. Vaughn, I want to give me a thumbs up if you're okay, Vaughn, with me kind of just taking a quick 30-second, or maybe not 30-second, 2-minute commercial break here. But just in case people missed it or kind of came in, this was the email information that kind of came out from AD Sykes to the athletic staff, notifying them Tuesday morning. Good morning, athletic staff. The purpose of this communication is to let you know that effective immediately, I am no longer employed at FAMU. Please route any questions or concerns to Assistant Vice President for Athletics, Michael Smith, until you receive additional direction from Interim President Timothy Beard. Best of luck to you, each of you. Tiffany. And her final shot, of course, as her new profile pic shows, she's not crying over this. And I think I saw a beautifully worded quote tweet from her mother, Dr. I believe Sandy Hutchinson, those who know or may follow, that, you know, she's unapologetic. She's unapologetic. You know, she did the best she could do in her eyes and her belief. And the one thing that has always been very apparent is that she tried to do as much as she could for student athletes at FAMU. And, you know, as passionate as brothers like, you know, our good friend Nick Dixon, who had a Twitter Spaces the same day, he and other student athletes will tell you, and from their perspective, we don't have to agree with it. You know, we may have a different viewpoint of things, but from their perspective as student athletes, which oftentimes, you know,
it's forgotten.
Some people may forget, or some people, I don't want to say dismiss, but we kind of maybe, some people may look past.
Well, I would tell you the bowling team ladies don't see it that way.
I said some. I said obviously okay. So yes, I think it depends on the sport. I think it does depend on the sport.
It does depend on the sport.
It does depend on the sport. You know, but you know, that was one viewpoint, and so anyway, you know, AD Sykes going out on her terms, and not apologizing to anybody for trying to do the best you can. Okay, let's take a short break because Vaughn Wilson's coming up here. And Vaughn was one of the first people to report on the news that this was all going down on Tuesday. So we'll kind of get his perspective. EA, boy, I tell you, you're a mess. EA, you're a plum fool. EA, you're a plum fool. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I can say. Let's take a break.
Hey, hold on. EA, you gonna make Bryan put his earring back in his ear now?
I knew I'm going to commercial break. I'm feeling God. I'm going to commercial break. Y'all are a mess, man. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Hey, grab me one too.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
Live from Atlanta, Georgia, the HBCU football capital hosts the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge on August 24th. Defending HBCU national champion Florida A&M Rattlers versus the Norfolk State Spartans. For more information, visit MEACSWACChallenge.com.
We're going to Florida, and we're going to bring you back a victory to Jackson. Yeah. God to y'all!
What you say now, Chuck? Man, you a plum fool, man. Well, we can't forget that we are 10 days away from the start of the football season. And, boy, I tell you, Chuck, boy, I hope Chuck is ready. I hope he got his popcorn ready. It's going to be an amazing year. Welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. Bryan Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, A.D. Drew stepping in as guest co-host, and joining us now, Mr. Vaughn Wilson, HBCU Game Day, a journalist. I will say this for those in the far back rooms who might have some things to say about Vaughn. I don't know, Vaughn. I had to, I was in the middle of the, what was it? I don't know. Somehow a particular tweet had kind of got to me, got on my nerves. You doing all this great reporting out here, and somebody out there blaspheming on your name. I had to,
we got an echo.
Yeah, Vaughn, I think.
Is that me?
Yeah, you might have us on. You might have us on. There you go. There you go. I think that's. We're getting there. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Yeah, there you go.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Okay,
yeah,
sorry about that.
And Vaughn, I want to say this. I appreciate what you guys did over at HBCU Game Day on yesterday, because like I said, I watched multiple platforms yesterday with this breaking news, and by far the coverage that you guys did yesterday was the best coverage of the fiasco of the events, however you want to term it, that I saw on yesterday. Fair, accurate, level reporting, gave the facts, then offered your opinion, not just all opinion, all street committee, barbershop talk. So I was you, Stephen and Tyler did a tremendous job yesterday.
Well, I appreciate that, man, and that's one thing we pride ourselves in. Tolly and I. I see you, Kenya. Yeah, I did. I got accused of that a lot.
My phone did not stop. I had to put that thing in a drawer while I'm trying to my phone just going off.
Mine died. I pretty much had to leave it plugged up yesterday to keep it on. But that's one of the things we pride ourselves on. I have no choice but to be a journalist. My father was an award-winning journalist. He won several awards, national awards, and that's where I learned from. I went to business school. I didn't go to school for journalism. I went to Roosevelt Wilson School of Journalism, and that's probably tougher than any journalism school on earth because it's based on research. If you're going to present a story, you have to have something to back it up. Unfortunately, nowadays, you don't have to have any of that to have a show on social media and go out and get a lot of followers, and people take it as actual journalism. It's actually entertainment. It's not. If you don't do the facts and try to at least look at both sides, it's not journalism. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't even care about journalism. They rather have the quick hitter or something that's going to get them excited. But I can say something about Tolly and I are the old guys, and Tolly was a journalism instructor at Central. And with me, with my schooling from my dad, we kind of keep it in the road. And I appreciate your comments because that's not always appreciated. It's not always sexy, and that's not always the first place that people turn. But the comments we've gotten about our coverage yesterday, the greatest compliment is we're a part of the McClatchy group, newspaper group. So people don't understand why we write all the time. We write, it goes into a circulation that can reach up to 30 million people. So many newspapers picked up my article yesterday. It was crazy. It was mind blowing to all of us. I'm talking Puerto Rico. It got translated into other languages. It was just like, wow. But that wouldn't happen if we didn't do what AD said, do it responsibly, and fairly, as responsibly and fairly and as accurate as we could.
So in other words, you didn't do it to get your likes up.
No, never that. Never that.
Vaughn, so let's kind of go through a little bit of timeline in what that day was like.
Hello, Bryan. I still hear that feedback.
You still hear it again? Let me.
Yes,
okay, let me try to turn all the way down.
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys, that I.
That's all right. Well,
is that better?
Let's see. Test 1, 2.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah, I think so. I just wanted you to go through a little bit of the timeline, Vaughn, in terms of when did you start kind of finding out? Just kind of take us behind the scenes on how all of that played out, and then there was so much information. Steve just talked about it. Kelvin and I were talking about it here about the names. The whole thing about the senior leadership team came out, and then everybody just kind of assumed it was everybody. Turned out to not be everybody. Turned out to be, I believe, a handful of people. I don't know. We can maybe mention the names, 4 to 5 names. But I want to, if you would kind of take us behind the scenes on how it all played out, let people know how the sauce is made a little bit.
First off, don't y'all ever put me behind Campbell again. Boy, he can blow this thing up. I don't ever want to follow him.
I tried to put a commercial. I put
man, thank you for putting that commercial in, because boy, he had this thing hot, boy.
That's why I put a commercial bit.
But anyway, yeah, I guess to give it to some perspective, you know, what my company is doing now is political season, so we are busy doing commercials, and I had actually shot 2 commercials Monday, so I was mentally beat. And about 11 o'clock, my phone started. I started getting texts for people that work at the university. I started getting, so I'm like, I'm tired. Who is this texting me this time of night? And then I read one of the texts and was like, oh my goodness. Wow. I mean, I knew that the interim president was coming in to make changes, but this is a bit much. So obviously, and this is where the journalist comes in. Obviously, in my mind, I was like, how is he going to come in and do this? And school starts in a week. The student's going to be back, and football season, and the band is here practice. How is he going to fire everybody from the senior leadership team? And who's going to replace, you know, Dr. Palm, and who's going to replace Carmen? And those that was my initial reaction. But then the journalist came in and said, well, you got to dig deeper into this and see what exactly is happening. So when I woke up, so I still had to go to sleep. It was like nothing I can do that night. It's midnight at this time. I got up at 3 o'clock and started typing my story. That's the best time where I can think before everybody gets up and starts rustling. And then I remember it came back to me, you know, from business school. That's a business technique, a corporate technique, where you bring it because that's your opportunity to get face to face with everyone and decide who you want. So then I began to calm down, and then so after that initial, I started thinking, well, this guy's kind of strategic. So let's see exactly what he's doing. So we did our first report. I woke Steven up. I was like, Steven, look over my story. You got to edit the story and get it out. And so then we became in constant communication all day about that. Yesterday, then I started getting reports. I was texting the members of the senior leadership team that I have. I was like, you safe? You good? You know, trying to gauge who was in, who was out. And people weren't responding, and I didn't realize that they were probably in meetings with Dr. Beard at the time. And so after I got a couple names that says, you know, I'm good, then I start realizing, you know, the obvious thing was who was associated with the Jerami deal, who was associated with other things at the university that did not bring it in the best light. And I think that's where in my opinion, I don't know, but I think that might have been the category that the athletic director fell into. And so, you know, then it started hitting everywhere. And then I got my hands on the actual letter. And so we included that. So it was a shocking day. It was more shocking Monday night, but Tuesday when I got up, just like AD said, the journalist had to come in and was like, okay, calm down. It is your school. You are vested in this, but you got to calm down and gather the facts and present people with facts. And I think, you know, sometimes we're not the first person to report a story. Because if a story is out there and we don't have the facts, we just don't report it. I'm just telling you, we're not going to jump out there to get the clicks. We just don't do that. So when we put it out, know that we vetted it through old school journalistic techniques. That ain't always sexy, but hey, that's who we are.
Yep. It still works.
I appreciate it.
It still works. It still works. So as I read your story, just to kind of go through some of the names, the first public acknowledgement was from AD Sykes. As the day went on, 3 other members of the leadership team's resignations were accepted. Former FAMU General Counsel Denise Wallace, Director of Governmental Affairs Danielle Macbeth, and Director of Communications Keith Miles. any other was that the end of it? I mean, I've kind of been in a bubble dealing with school stuff, but obviously
that was the end of it so far. But from what I understand, it's not the end of the sorting process. And we're trying to get some clarity on that, but that's not the end of the evaluation process for the president. It started with the senior leadership team, but now the rest of the university will be evaluated.
Okay. And obviously okay. Let me go forward here, because I don't know, where we're at with all of these names, because I know there is some question as to whether general counsel did or did not resign.
Well, that's gonna be hard to determine unless they tell us.
Okay.
Tiffany indicated that she did not resign, but she had left the university. So you can read between the lines of what happened there.
Okay. All right. Well said. Do you think? Obviously, I saw Dr. Beard. Had a chance to meet him for the first time Saturday. We were all at Saturday's Fan Day event. Do you think, or as you talk to people, was that in process? Was that sort of already in motion? I can't imagine that on Monday morning, Dr. Beard kind of woke up and sent an email out, or maybe Sunday. I can't imagine that it happened just like that. So do you think that was floating in the air on Saturday, at least from his perspective? I'm sure maybe other people didn't know. Some people may have known. What's your take there?
After hearing Dr. Beard at the 220 Quarterback Club today, it became much more evident that he's not what people feared he would be, like somebody coming in to destroy FAMU. He wants the best for FAMU. In his evaluation process, he, in his opinion, is trying to determine what is best for the university to move forward, to move past. It will be very difficult for the university to move past the debacle without making some dramatic changes and visible changes. And even as word got out that he was bringing all the senior leadership in, if you look at the comments, they were split. And people were like, yeah, that's what we should do. You might need a clean house or that sort of thing. So people expect him to do something, not sit there on his hands as interim president. Fam, you can't afford for anybody to be sitting on their hands right now. There are things that have to be corrected, specifically those exit exams and those types of things for law school, physical therapy, and nursing. There is no room for error. The right people need to be in place, and the right plan needs to happen, post haste right now, yesterday, and so I think, in my opinion, from meeting him from Friday to our interaction today at the 220 Quarterback Club, which, obviously I was a little nervous today. We at the 220 Quarterback Club invited him way before any of this shook out. So when it hit on Monday, Tuesday, we were all like, oh my goodness. People are going to burn down the Old West Florida, where we hold a 220 Quarterback Club. Brilliantly, Eddie Jackson's wife got up and set the tone that, in keeping in line with what her husband wanted, one thing the 220 Quarterback Club never does is take a stance on the university. She came out and did that at the beginning of the meeting today. And so when he got up, everyone was at least receptive to hearing what he said, but he got a lot of support. He got great, overwhelming support today from his presentation.
And can I take a point of special privilege? Congratulations on your new leadership role with the 220 Quarterback Club.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's kind of hard to turn down something that's going to benefit FAMU, and Ms. Jackson kind of volunteered me that that's what I was going to do. you know, as I told a story, you know, of how we got to FAMU, but the other side of that is the first family that we were friends with were the Jacksons. I'm talking about when I was 3-4 years old, and so that's how far we go back. And so I see it as a challenge, man. If it's an opportunity to help, just and Kelvin and I know I've said this 1,000 times. You know, one problem we have at FAMU is there are some areas and some methodologies that we're so stuck in the success of the way that it's been that we don't change. The Jake Gaither era people were the biggest givers in FAMU history, but those folks are passing on, and we have not done a good job as a university or an athletic department to replace those people with younger methods. A prime example is somebody just said is what we did today. Today, to the middle-aged and younger people, they're not going to write a check. They don't carry cash. But we raised almost, and I promise you, when I was sitting there, money was still coming in. It's approaching $3,000 that we raised just from an ask today. We didn't have to do any work. We didn't have to feed those people today at the 220 Quarterback Club. But, you know, that's almost 2 months of the nutrition station. You see what I'm saying? We have to seize every opportunity. If we're going to be sustainable, we have to engage a younger audience. The big givers are going to be your Roy Moores. You may not have somebody who can give what Roy Moore can give right now, but we got to find a way to start giving the younger people in the younger generation opportunities to participate. They're not sending a check. They are not writing a check and putting a stamp on it and sending it to donate to anybody, as much as they love FAMU. But if it was as easy as a cash app, and I asked for $20, man, you don't know how many 50s and $100 we got today, you know, to support FAMU.
The young people don't even know what a check is.
And the other thing was, Mr. Jackson was a phenomenal man, and he had connections and he could just make the thing work. But following him, in order for it to be sustainable, we have to get a corporate structure, which is why we have applied. And right, not as high as stamps are. You're exactly right. And I'm not going to use my my Althea Gibson Forever stamps either. But
yeah, those might be collector's items. Don't give those up.
and I got to get the Henry Aaron stamps are out now, so we got to go get some of them Hammer Hanks. But everything at the university has been successful for so long, but so many of our methodologies are still rooted in years past. Yeah. And we've just got to, with everything, we've just got to upgrade. There are technologies that can give us better feedback. And we just have to utilize those things, and we have to. You know, when I was working at FAM and Kelvin and I, and we would be in we'd be in meetings, and something to the effect of just say when a great booster out of Quincy, Lawton Williams, man, he gave like 10. He was about the highest package we had for investing champions every year, $10,000 or $15,000. But when he passed, he was never replaced. And the methodology did not go after younger people to get a collective of, you may not get a younger person than Mr. Lawton to give 10,000. We got to go out the 2,500s. We got to go out the 2,500s. That's literally what you have to do.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that that I hope to implement with the 220 Quarterback Club. Mr. Jackson had a mission of $1 million, and he wanted it by December. We're going to continue that, but give ourselves a little more time until June. Listen, I've been calling people I have never called and asked for a dime, and they have been so excited about me being passionate about something that's going to help FAMU, and nobody's told me no. So as soon as we are established as a 501c3, so that these donations can be written off you're going to see some good numbers roll in the 220 quarterback club, which in effect helps our student athletes. Nobody gets a salary. Like I joked today, if I get a banner made, then I just bought a banner. I've never been able to turn in a receipt and get a refund. So that's how we operate.
That was a permanent banner I saw up there today, right? I looked up and I said, I kept looking. I said, is that digital or no? He actually got a banner. What? Every time Beard comes up, we have to put that one in the closet. When he comes back, put that one up.
We actually rolled it up really neatly for when he comes back. But yeah, it's an interesting time for FAMU, but it's an opportunity. I've been to some practices that I really like what I'm seeing out of the football team, even with all the controversy surrounding men's basketball. I think he has some players. I expect improvement there. We know Coach Pressure is going to bring it this year. Golf has a young team, and we expect them to do well. Coach Jamie Shoup, it's every other year he championship. So we just know the baseball team is going to be good. He's done a phenomenal job there, and he's had some severe frustrations lately. And people like that, we have to. If especially all of the coaches, but our championship coaches, we got to pay special attention to get them back to they know what it takes to get to their championship level, and when they can't get what they need, they get frustrated. I like what Coach Cozy say. It's hard to win a game.
Yeah.
FAMU is a sport. We ain't lost a SWAC game, ain't lost in Bragg since whenever, so we kind of take it for granted at some point. But that's been because we as a Rattler Nation, as Willie Simmons continue to ask for things, okay, our next step is this. I just say he was a master. Our next step is this. We need a cooling chamber. The guys, we had too many people go to the hospital last year. Our next step is this. We need more nutrition so that our players don't lose weight. We need more assistance with our student athletes being able to go to summer school because we can get them ready. As those things happen, we saw the results.
Yeah.
He could not have done what he did at the end if those things were not in place. So we can't slack on those things at any point. We got to continue to support that nutrition, the cooling chamber, the summer school, that, supplement the coaches. Somehow we've got to get some money for our assistant coaches so we don't have the turnover that we do every year. And we've got to restructure in athletics. Athletics has to be absolutely restructured.
Hold on. I'm glad you brought that. I'm glad you brought that up because and Kelvin, I want you to get in here too because I'm going to put up our sad list of names since 2000 that we've had to add another line. I've had to restructure the graphic to add in 2 names since the last time I showed this graphic back in 2022. Of course, this is our athletic rundown. I had to move a name from one column over to another to accommodate now the name Tiffany-Dawn Sykes down at the bottom. The last time I did this, Michael Smith, it was 2023. So now we have once again added Michael Smith in as the current athletic director. Of course, this is now the 4th time. Just in case anyone wanted to know, because I know it was out there. He said, well, how many times has Michael Smith been the interim AD? This is now the 4th time. Vaughn, in talking with Dr. Beard, and I had a chance to meet him, and he said something to me that I absolutely loved, that he recognizes, he said, and I think he may have said it at the 220 Club, we have this championship facility, meaning the Lawson Center, right? Which I butchered in the opening if anybody caught it. But anyway, we have to find a way to increase the revenue and increase the budget of our athletes. He recognizes that. And I got a goosebump hearing him talk about athletics and wanting to see athletics grow. How do we create a better system for FAMU? Kelvin talked about it. You've talked about it. You've worked in athletics. We all talk about the areas that we can improve and the things that happen and the things that don't happen, and there's head scratchers. Are we maybe finally coming to a point here with Dr. Beard, and I don't know who may come after him, where this thing might actually get right?
Bryan, it's a simple answer, and it's a complex answer, and it's a word answer. It's money. You know, when you lose I guess I need to qualify this, but I don't like to see any of our coaches leave. But Camise Patterson cut deep.
Yeah.
The reason Camise Patterson leaving cut so deep was because she was brought in under Wiggins. Mm-hmm. She had adapted to FAMU and was ingratiated into the FAMU way and added her touch to it this year, and that's where the success of the team came from. So it was an opportunity for us to graduate to the next level with softball, but she had the wherewithal to integrate some of the traditional things. And so having somebody who has that understanding and is a successful coach, that hurts to lose a person like that, because you don't want to keep bringing in outsiders and completely lose all of that culture that our softball, it's a strong culture in softball. Very, very strong. Mm-hmm. I cannot underscore how important and amazing Veronica Wiggins was with what she built and what those young ladies, whether they played for her 30 years ago or in her last season, how they have a connection, because Wiggins made that bond, and she would bring back the older, unlike a lot of sports, Wiggins would bring back the alumni to play against the current players. It was just amazing to see that when they would do that every in the fall. I mean, it's almost unheard of, but that's how we kept the traditions alive, is because the older softball athletes would annually meet the younger athletes. So it's not this person that I'm not familiar with, about a couple of years go along and they're familiar with these people. They're familiar with the older softball players, and that tradition is just something else. So we've got to stop losing coaches over crap. Let me say this. I'm going to say something y'all never heard before. Last year when Coach Jamie Shute was about to start the baseball season, he didn't have his baseballs in.
Yeah, I heard this.
A couple years ago, the golf team was in the was it in the PGA Works or something? We were down there, and it looked like they might be short on golf balls. So I happened to be there, and of course, me as an alum, what am I going to do? I went and bought the most expensive balls in America at the pro shop, because our golf team wasn't going to go out here and not have balls. But these little things are part of a bigger problem. How in the heck are you going to play a baseball game without baseballs? Mm-hmm. We've got to stop this stupidity and start, because the problem is you leave Jamie Shute shorthanded and somehow he goes ahead and win. That's what the problem is, that these coaches have been successful despite. Right, Saturday I talked to the volleyball coach. You know what he told me? They don't have a place to practice. They're practicing at the rec center right now. So what I'm trying to tell you is what absolutely has to happen in athletics is there have to be more resources coming in. We used to have an in-house fundraiser, and Campbell was talking about Angela Suggs. Angela used to raise money that came directly into us that we could use. Right now, I don't know what they're doing with radio, but we used to make money with our radio network. A lot of money with our radio network, and I don't understand why that has changed. But you were also on the #1 station in the area, so people in the barbershop are listening to it. Yeah. That's exposure. That's reach. Everybody's not going to jump online. We have an agent alumni. They don't want to go online and listen to no game. I can jump on there and do it in a heartbeat. But a lot of our older rattlers, our seasoned rattlers, They're not streaming nothing. They just aren't going to do it. So go back to the terrestrial radio. We were on the #1 radio station in the market, however many years you want counting.
A blowtorch, as they like to say, right? 50,000 watt station.
So it's things like that we need to make the things in the past that we did that were successful, make those practical. But the things that we were doing that weren't working, like coaches not having enough budget, we can't put that all on the coaches. There needs, again, to be a fundraising arm inside of athletics. I just don't believe people outside of athletics will care or have the sense of urgency enough to understand the aggressiveness that needs to happen for athletics to be funded correctly. And like I said, one of the problems is you got teams out there that have won despite, in spite of.
Kelvin, you wanna add anything on this one?
No, Vaughn doing a beautiful job. Let him cook, baby. Let him cook.
And also, Bryan, that is one of the reasons. Knowing that is probably the only reason I decided to take the helm of the 220 quarterback club, because I want to be a part of the solution. So we're going to take that group and try to elevate what we're doing to help the athletic department, but we need to be a help. The 220 quarterback club does not need to be a budget line item. What the 220 quarterback club puts in needs to be enhancements. And for the last several years, they're line items in the budget.
Yeah, Vaughn, let me ask you this question. What are you looking for in the next athletic director? What characteristics are you looking for?
The characteristics I'm looking for in the next athletic director is an understanding of the financial workings of a successful athletic department. Compliance has been taken out of athletics. Athletics combines with compliance and academic counseling. But fortunately for Dr. Robinson, after the debacle of 2022, there is a robust system put in place. Thank goodness. I don't often write articles bad about FAMU, but I blasted Dr. Robinson. I really did after the North Carolina game. I wrote the harshest article I've ever written about FAMU. And when I saw Dr. Robinson, he kind of bowed his head and said, "I hear you." And boy, did he fix it. He fixed it to an issue that we got perfect scores out of several of our teams. And first time football has ever reached the benchmark. So that's a person that comes in and understands the things that are working and understands the things that have been constant challenges. Our coaches are just struggling. They want to win, but it takes resources to win. There is no way around it. You can't X and O your way past necessities. You just can't do it.
One of the things I loved what you said today is that no matter how much you give, whether it be $20, $18.87, $50, $100, that donation automatically makes you part of the 220 club. I love that. No offense to we want people to support the boosters and other entities but you can also be a part of the 220 quarterback club, which I used to always think, you got to be in Tallahassee to be a part of that. It always felt like a secret society of FAMU that you got to be a part of. But no, and that's what being digital has sort of opened the doors of. And now you've opened the doors, and now anybody can be a part, whether it be live or virtually on Wednesdays. And you can also be a part by making a donation. And so that's why I wanted to make sure to put that website up there. just in case anyone wanted or didn't know what the web address was.
Yeah, and we like to thank Kelvin for his donation to the $1 million campaign. Thank you so much. And that's very important, Bryan. There is no barrier to entry to the 220 Quarterback Club. Everybody can be a part of it. It is that. It is a support group. Within the next month or so, what we're going to do is we're going to have everyone to submit their emails. We're going to start like an informative, at least monthly newsletter of where our needs are and why we need to raise money and that sort of thing, so that we can communicate with people. And then we'll have links there where people can give. We have got to, thank you, Kenya. It took 4 years to get that logo because they didn't like any logo I did before. Amazingly, we did the logo and they finally approved it, right? Mr. Jackson approved it and Ms. Jackson approved it right before he passed. Then I was like, oh gosh. When we renamed it, then I had to bring in Charles Collins to figure out how to put Eddie Jackson's name on there. And we finally, the first date, the debut of it was on that sign behind Dr. Beard today. So, shameless plug, we're going to have some polo shirts and hats and those kind of things. So any member that want to proudly display that you're a part of the 220 Quarterback Club, you can help us raise some funds that way. But we have to turn over every stone. I hate to say it, but we got to have a PWI mentality when we're going behind funds. Amen. And that is an aggressive. That is I have to get every dollar in to make us better. And so the support has been amazing. You often wonder when you have a figure as big than Mr. Jackson, what are you going to do? The answer was we have to move forward. That was it. We can't do what Mr. Jackson did, but we have to move forward. And the response has been great. I had some of the seasoned rattlers come up and say, we like your energy. We really want to follow and help to improve more. So that's the kind of thing that means more to you than anything. You don't become the president of 220 Quarterback Club for publicity, because your behind has to work. You got to work. It's not a passive position. It's going to take some organization, and like what I'm doing already, you got to get on the phone and call people and get your donations up. And we have got to raise this $1 million, and we've got to be innovative and make it easy for anybody to give.
We haven't talked. We're 10 days away from the first game, and we're 9 days away from our first volleyball match. By the way, just in case you guys didn't know the calendar of things. And so I'd be remiss. I spotlighted a couple of questions here that came in regarding some things. And EA and Vaughn, please feel free to, I definitely want you to, any insights that you can provide. EA says there's no way that fall practice is almost over and we haven't used the practice field yet. What in the world? What is going on? That's Vaughn looked away. Hold on, you saw that?
What the hell is going on out here?
What the hell is going on out here? We haven't practiced yet.
And it's very hard to explain this to people, okay? Because FAMU is an auxiliary, if I'm saying this correctly, Kelvin, plant operations, the football field does not fall under the normal scope of plant operations. Is that correct, Kelvin?
It is not a E&G. It's an auxiliary lab. Yes.
So that means either athletics has to make an arrangement with plant operations to compensate them for it, or have someone external to do it themselves. What I understand happened this year is the vendor that athletics chose was unable to fulfill that responsibility. But the season's coming. That was an opportunity for leadership to make an arrangement with plant operations. Look, until our vendor is able to to fulfill this responsibility, we need to make arrangements for you all to help us by cutting and lining this field, and we'll buy the paint and make that happen. You don't sit back 10 days before the first damn game and tell your football coach excuse after excuse why he can't. We have to give our coach. I'm getting excited because this goes back to what I said. We have to give our coaches everything they need to win. You can't take anything away. And there is a big difference in practicing on one field and two fields. It's a big difference for offense and defense from sharing a field and being able to have two consecutive 11 on 11s where top field is always offense, bottom field defense. It's simple as that. But you can't have two at one time in Bragg Stadium.
And also, Vaughn, to that point, there's a lot more wear and tear on the bodies.
Yes.
When you practice on turf all the time. Yeah.
Can I ask a stupid question? You said buy the paint, Vaughn, Kelvin. We don't have a paint robot.
Not yet.
So we doing this old school with the string and everything else.
Yes, sir.
Man, there are high schools, elementary schools that have a paint machine now. All you do is program the GPS and just somebody just sit out there and make sure the things stay full of paint.
So we need to do a fun.
And in 2 hours,
we gotta do a fundraiser for that too now.
We got to do a fundraiser for that.
But the problem is that robot needs a surface it can maneuver. It can't maneuver 6-inch grass.
I told you, look, I don't have a lawnmower, but if I need to come up there with a lawnmower, I'm gonna buy a lawnmower. I bet I can get 15 people watching this show. So let's go to Tallahassee and let's go cut the doggone grass. This is ridiculous. I don't understand this.
Can I take my paint machine one step further? That same paint machine can be taken over to the baseball field to paint the baseball field, but of course the coach is still cutting the grass over there. So, but I get your point, Vaughn and Kelvin. But that paint machine can be used for more than just football.
Well, so you just brought up baseball and taking it over to baseball. Since Jamie Shoup has been here, his maintenance crew is the baseball team. So if they play a doubleheader, they play the game. And in between the game, while the other team is resting and eating peanut butter jelly sandwiches and hydrating, our team is out there raking the field, dragging the field, watering the field.
Like a high school team.
Most high schools don't do that now, I don't think.
Okay.
So we got to get like I say, there are basic necessities that if we're talking about moving forward, we got to stop accepting the things that we're doing now that are unacceptable. That's the first thing to do. We gotta stop expecting Jamie Shoup to let his players be tired in the second game. I don't even know what our record is in the second games of doubleheaders because our players don't rest. They're out in the direct sunlight preparing the field.
Whose responsibility does this fall under?
As we stated, it is not plant operations because FAMU is an auxiliary, so it is the responsibility of the athletic department.
But I'm gonna go there since you asked.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
So there's ways of getting those fields labeled. You know, we have an education department and we have a sports management department. So there's ways of getting those locations labs if we actually tie them with certain programs and put some programming within those academics. You know, 1 hour class on field maintenance. So there are things that can be done, and things have been suggested, frankly, in the past.
Say that again. Say that part again.
Things have been done. I mean, this is nothing new. The things what Vaughn talking about, I'm going to peel scale back a little bit, Vaughn.
Please.
Go ahead.
Please.
The things that we talking about, and It's been brought to the attention of administration, including the administration who no longer here. And I'm talking about the president. I'm talking about Larry. We just got to have leadership that's willing to act on things.
Okay.
And so let me. Go ahead, AD.
Can I ask a question? What's the second name in our school's name? The second word? Agriculture. And we not figured out a way to tie this into horticulture or parks and rec maintenance or something along those lines, or programs that we should have, because we are first in agricultural school. Before we was anything else, we were agricultural school. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Vaughn.
And let me tell you how it can work. When we were in the MEAC, and when we were in the MEAC, and they gave us like a couple, maybe 3 months notice that, hey, your school is going to have to produce in-house your ESPN 3 broadcasts.
Remember that. Mm-hmm.
I happen to be the sports information director, and I thought exactly like Kelvin did. How am I going to get this equipment that we need? Athletics doesn't have it. So what I did was I partnered with SBI and journalism school, and I said, hey, I need your interns, I need your students, and I had to go through the paperwork process of becoming a fully established internship, which means I graded the students and everything. And when I did that, SBI was able to buy the equipment because their students were going to be working and learning on that equipment. So we were able to buy a complete broadcast system, and SBI students and journalism students ran the broadcast, which is why I had so many interns running around. Kelvin knows it was like a game, but that validated the investment. You just have to think about it and implement it. And what Kelvin is talking about with those fields and having some sort of class associated with it, at that point, investments from other places can be made into it. And let me tell you, the year that we beat University of Florida in baseball down there, and we went down there really early with the baseball team. When we got to the stadium at the University of Florida on the Jumbotron, the game Jumbotron, 3 hours before the game, it was like some homemade movies being played up there on the screen with the audio. And so I asked the guy from University of Florida, I said, is this your test video? He said, no, that's a journalism school board. They're playing journalism school movies up there. So even the University of Florida has figured it out. But we refuse to understand that. The University of Florida has more money than the law would allow, but they don't have to pay for that board because it's coming through. Journalism school owns it. There's a fiber from the journalism school building to the stadium. So whenever they need to play videos during the day when there's no game or nothing's happening, they play it up on that board, and that's just how they justify it.
I really hope, and I feel like I'm going to say this with confidence, that the people who watch our show, and whether it's Dr. Beard or anyone close to Dr. Beard, can point this out to him and let him know these things are possible. These things need to happen. I mean, we've got people who are making suggestions, realistic suggestions. I mean, these are not unrealistic expectations. If we want to move forward, it starts with little things like that. Little things like that need to start happening at FAMU and for FAMU Athletics. I've long felt like, hey, we've got a great inventory of product that would make, like you said, Vaughn, SBI students, journalism students, I mean, you guys are going to go off and work in all these major places, but right here in your backyard, you could be helping FAMU. and helping FAMU athletics.
And the kids, Kelvin will tell you, they took such ownership in providing that service because they knew they were learning, and one day they hoped to be working somewhere doing those types of things. Man, it was the students are brilliant. You need that energy to keep you going. You need the energy from those students because they're innovative. And you talk about listening, I would listen to them because they had new and fresh ideas that I might not have thought about. So that's another thing. We've got to listen better.
And
we don't have to.
We're also going to need a long-term strategy. We're going to have to consider the P3 athletic. We're going to have to do an athletic capital campaign that will include facilities and athletic facilities as well as endowed athletic scholarships, maybe head coach's salary and we have to put those in place. And those are just standard things. When we talk about fundraising, I totally agree with Vaughn. If you look at how the University of Florida athletic club is set up, they have a person who does nothing but fundraise for athletics. A dedicated resource.
Athletic advancement is usually with a lot of them title.
Yeah. So I mean, there's, as he indicated, we ain't got to reinvent the wheel. We just got to get in the car.
Look,
and you know what else? Let me tell y'all this. Y'all want to know how I learned how to quickly within the 90 days that the MEAC gave us to pull off the broadcast? Do you know how I figured it out? I went across to Florida State because Seminole Productions was a regional ESPN studio.
Yeah.
It got to the point where I would walk in and they would just say, "Oh, Joe is over there," because they knew I was looking for Joe for technology. "Oh, we switching out this board. Do y'all want this board?" You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to ask from people who know and people who are doing it right. They were doing it right over there, and that helped us in our broadcast to the point where when we had the weekly MEAC meetings and they were blasting, I'm not going to call their names, but schools who could never figure it out and get it right, they would literally lead off the meeting with FAMU and say, "Hey, on your thing, you had the FAMU team on your lead-in graphic, you had FAMU first and then Norfolk State. But you already got to put Norfolk first and the home team second. All right, thank you. You good for the broadcast meeting." We would get off because we had learned the right way. Meanwhile, that call was 2 or 3 hours as they were talking to the other people. So it's easy to learn and more efficient to learn from somebody that's doing it right. And schools like Florida State, Florida, Miami, they will not hesitate to tell you. When I was sports information, our roster cards in the press box, I love the University of Miami so much. I asked them who made it, and they sent me the template.
Hey.
So all I had to do was drop FAMU logos in and drop our lineups in there. People will tell you that are doing it right how to do it. They will. You just have to be willing to listen.
Yeah.
And in the sports information industry, which I spent time in, because we all know how hard it is and how much work you have to do and how little time that you have to do it. We always share stuff, back when we used a stat crew. I mean, it was like, "Oh, is that how you do it so quick in stat crew?" And you learn that little shortcut key and boom, boom, boom. Now we got something else going with the stats and just different stuff like that. So you're right. Sometimes all you gotta do is open your mouth or just be in a room full of other people. Because when I was working at Athletic Communications, whenever I visited somebody else's school as the role SID, I guarantee you I always picked up something, good or bad. I always picked up something when I was in somebody else's presence.
Yeah.
Let me run through a few questions from the chats before we, get while we got Vaughn for, Vaughn, I know you've been grinding it out, so I don't want to keep you here
I'm good. I got my coffee. I'm good.
Oh, look at you. All right. A few questions that I'm gonna come across here. Just in case anybody has, I invited Michael Smith to come on the show. He wasn't available. I haven't replied, but maybe if we can get the message to Michael Smith to bring the cannon back. And while we're talking about bringing things back, I know we have some friends that would say, open up the hill. Let us back on the hill too. I think we.
Hey, and add one more thing. Bring Sterling back.
Right.
All right. While we're putting in requests, there we go. The cannon, the hill, and Sterling right there in no particular order. Let's see if Michael Smith can bring those things back. All right. James P. asked a question, and I'm opening it up to anybody here. Your opinions on the difference between FAMU, Tennessee State, and Prairie View A&M's changing leadership over the past few months.
I don't want to degrade any other school, so I hope it's not taken as that. But Prairie View nor Tennessee State are top 100 institutions or have not been the top public HBCU for the last 5 years. That is one of the reasons that FAMU is always in the limelight, because it's a leader. It's doing what other HBCUs aren't. So that's why there's more of an emphasis. You couldn't tell me what's going on with Tennessee State and Prairie View A&M coaches, searches, or anything. And like I say, I'm not degrading those schools. It's just the academic profile matched with the athletic profile of those institutions do not compare to FAMU.
Good stuff. Kelvin, Drew, any thoughts, opinion, or?
Well, state of Tennessee.
I
real quick, Drew. I don't know much about Prairie View other than they're making a change. But Tennessee State, of course, the governor pretty much got rid of the whole board, and what he did assign all people who were Tennessee State grads to the board. And the person they chose to come in as the interim has an HBCU background. So hopefully the changes that are happening, even though it was unsavory, hopefully the end result will be similar to what we're looking for, that things will be better.
Drew, you want to add anything here?
Difference, it's real simple for me. The difference, this one is personal. I looked at the other ones, but damn it, this one is personal. That's the difference.
All right. Now, Vaughn, I got one from Larry Sargent here. Not to shy away, and I know you won't shy away from any questions, because I know I had to get on somebody who came at you, but so I'm gonna let you respond to this one from Larry. Larry has a thought or a belief here, and asked a question about why there seems to be a belief that some folks at game day talk about FAMU not liking women in leadership.
Well, I just left filming a video for Angela Suggs for accepting an award. I worked with her a long time, know her as a very high-level professional. So you just can't categorize everybody in the boat. We're all individuals. We all have different things to say on this show. And so one thing about HBCU Game Day is we don't suppress a person's, when you have the opportunity to express their opinion, we allow that. I will say this. The individual you're talking about has known the AD for a while, even before they came to FAMU. So I actually respect him for, if you riding with somebody, ride with them. You know what I'm saying? If I'm riding with you, if I'm rocking with you, I'm rocking with you. So that is why I have no problem with an individual in that vein. But it doesn't represent HBCU Game Day. It represents that individual.
Mm-hmm. Great point. Great point. Another one for everybody from JT. whoever, whether it be Michael Smith or the next AD, do you give the AD full autonomy of the athletic budget? It's my understanding that that has not been the place. The athletic director does not have the athletic budget. Is it time that we get to that point, or should another system be created other than the one that we currently have? I see a lot of head shaking and a head nodding there.
You have, if somebody's going to be responsible for something and they're not in control of it, then how can you blame them for what happens? I just feel that we've had some athletic directors that should have had autonomy and we would be in better position. I keep saying it. I think Milton Overton was one of the smartest people to sit in that chair. Absolutely. If he had full autonomy and didn't have to bargain at all times for resources that were already supposed to be his and those type things, he would have been more successful at FAMU. So it's, I think once you choose the person that you believe to be the leader, give them autonomy, but give them oversight as well. Monthly, Overton was able to tell each coach, okay, your budget started out as this, you've spent this much, you have this much left. That same scenario, if the university can come in and give autonomy, but also have those monthly meetings. Okay, well, it's your budget, but you're down to this. And so there's some checks and balances on it so that someone doesn't do something ridiculous, but I think they need autonomy.
Yeah, Edwin beat me to my quote that I was going to say. Old Bill Parr says, if you want me to cook the dinner, let me buy the groceries.
Let me just add one statement to what what Vaughn said. Auxiliary has control of their own budget. All the other auxiliaries.
You're right.
Why is the athletic different?
Kenya brings up something about bringing back the special committee on athletics for the primary oversight. Coaches should be the CEO of their sport. Is that something that was in place when you guys were working in athletics?
We didn't have any we didn't have any interaction with them, but that committee could be what I said, the check and balance system to look at the budget monthly and say, hey, we got 50% of the school year remaining, and you only got 40% of your budget remaining, or whatever it is, to make sure that the financials stay on task.
Vaughn, you remember there was a meeting that used to be held in the president's conference room?
Yes.
And we started asking some questions and making some suggestions, and that committee and that meeting just stopped meeting
because we were so far outside of their understanding. It became frustrating. You could see the frustration, like, wait, what? We got the Florida Classic in November, but we don't get paid till June or whatever. Nobody could understand the actual operations of athletics and how things, were. So it was almost like we were talking Greek in there, and at some point they just, decided to disband that. But
so how do we bridge that gap? I mean, is that it's sounding like we've had intelligent, informed people on one side of the table, people who didn't know on the other side. And so to me, that would seem like, okay, either that's a lack of trust or inability to comprehend, in which case, if it's the latter, why are you in the position that you are in? Am I reading that right, wrong?
Can I say this, Bryan? Bryan, let me say this, and I don't know if this was the case at FAMU, but where I worked at, there has always been a tough time translating that things that happen in athletics are not the same as the things that happen on the academic side. From from the marketing to the fundraising to the spending to you name it. Athletics is such a unique animal. Until you are embedded in it, it is hard for somebody who may be astute in general business practices to understand the adjustments from those business practices that you have been schooled on and how they relate to athletics, coaching, for budgets, you name it. I gotta have a check. I gotta have a check every game for these officials. I can't pay them at the end of the season. No, depending on the assigner, depending on the contract, you gotta have. If you got 3 officials, you gotta have 3 checks. Well, they need to send me the names and the 1099s. And I mean, it is hell trying to get people to understand and the urgency of I need to have this paid. I need a PO. I need a check. I need whatever, or we gonna have some problems, and you gonna have 2,000, 3,000 people sitting here, and we not gonna have a game because we don't have X, Y, and Z handled. I'm assuming FAMU was the same way.
It was. You know, but Bryan, to answer your question, I'll just put it this way: an airplane pilot and a bus driver are both in transportation. But I'll be damned if you're going to put that bus driver behind the wheel of that airline.
Great analogy. Oh, my
God. Can I quote you on that one, Vaughn?
Yeah, you can quote me on that one.
Where you were going when you started that. I knew
man, you know, I am going to steal that one.
Oh, my God.
Which is why I think we're just going to need a different infrastructure, and athletics needs to have its own. That's why I always talk about the athletic, whatever you want to call it, fun club, whatever. But they need their own auxiliary. They negotiate their own contracts. I'm talking about the drinks and things. I'm talking about merchandise. I'm talking the uniforms that the team wear. All that needs to be housed within the athletics. They are the experts. And that's all they deal with. Trying to get university people to, part of the reasons I think HBCU struggle in general to include FAMU with athletics in the budgets and things is because we keep trying to put a square peg in a round hole, right? We trying to educate people who don't do that. And it's just
don't put
it's
that
just
on
different.
HBCUs. It's white institutions also, because I worked at some of them.
And Kelvin also, and Kelvin, you remember at one time, to try to help athletics, they sent compliance people from the university compliance. That has nothing to do with the NCAA rule book. Nothing. It is absolute. That's sending the bus driver behind the 747 right there.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Okay, a couple more questions here, guys. Appreciate everybody in the chats. Hit the thumbs up and the like button if you would, you guys, if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, your support. Thank you for all the questions coming in. Trying to see where I'm at here. Fangs Up podcast, Keith here. What are some of the things the 220 Club are looking to support?
Anything that comes up. One major thing is Coach Ellenwood is determined to bring back the FAMU relays this year. Yes. So we're going to sit down with him to find out exactly what he needs, because it's been finances every year that has been the reason that the FAMU relays. Listen, we grew up on the FAMU relays, 8 deep all the way around the track. A great 2 days of track and field, just a festive situation, great athletes. We've got to bring back the FAMU relays, because FAMU relays was a point of pride, not only at FAMU, but the whole community, because the Southside kids would be able to come and see. And, during Darlene's tenure, she even brought back high school athletes competing on Friday. In order to get FAMU back in the public scope of the way that it was, that it used to use the FAMU relays which was also the spring sports carnival when they would have all of they would have baseball, softball, tennis. They would have everybody in the spring playing that weekend, and you could literally go from field to field. And the NYSP, the missing of the NYSP. And the reason I say that those things are important, because that grew little kids up as rattlers that became rattlers. There are a lot of kids that grew up and went to the NYSP that ended up coming to FAMU and ended up being great athletes. And so if FAMU is going to grow, it has to make sure that it continues to grow within the community. That'll help the overall university. So that's why that's one of the reasons the FAMU relays needs to come back. But besides that, we had Bob Hayes, Paramore, Tracy Cofield, Pam Oliver, Reggie Davis,
Ray Robinson.
Ray Robinson. Come on, man. We had the only team to ever in the Penn relays win the 4x100 3 years with the same 4 guys. We have a great track tradition, and if you don't have that home meet, it doesn't resonate with the students. It doesn't resonate with the community. It's 1 meet a year. So we've got to make sure 220 Quarterback Club is going to do everything we can to make sure that we have the FAMU relays to restart this year and it stays going.
Nice. Now, in sort of news fashion, in terms of we all know that we are obviously still hunting for a softball coach. And the sad part is with the transition, I don't know if it resets. I don't know what happens, because I know some attempts to bring in a coach didn't fare well.
Bryan, school starts in 12 days, and we don't have a coach. How the hell whoever the coach is, how the hell they gonna recruit?
We also don't have a bowling coach, and I saw that we hired I don't know where all this money is coming from, but we've hired a search firm to hire a bowling coach too. Although we didn't hire a search firm to get the softball. I don't know where all this money is coming from that we don't have. But anyway, I just have to put that out there. So
every time we talk about softball, it's just a real sore spot to me. I mean, there are situations, and that one there was just absolutely preventable. Absolutely preventable.
It was. And the sad part in it wouldn't have taken much to keep Coach Patterson.
That's the more frustrating thing. She didn't go somewhere and get 3 times her salary or something like that. She didn't get a lot more. You mean we can't provide that, or at least make an effort to provide that?
Yeah. I mean, it does make you wonder if the AD couldn't provide it or didn't want to provide it. I don't know which one it falls under. If it had to do with more year, yeah, you can look, Kelvin. If it was more than a 1-year contract, if it was more than offering a grad assistant a full-time position, were those things that she didn't want to do, or could she not do it? That I really wish to know the latter. Because we talked about the things that Dr. Robinson has sort of handicapped athletics with, and I just wonder, is that one of them? Like, did AD Sykes go and try to get a multi-year deal and just was told no? I mean, look, everybody's gone now. I mean, I'd love to know. I just really would. I don't know. Just one of those things. But yes, folks, we're looking for a bowling coach and we're looking for a softball coach. So AD Smith. Hey, you know what? Michael Smith, he hired Ellenwood and Patterson. So he's 2-0. He had 2 great hires on his way out the door.
Hey, he also hired Jamie Shute.
Yeah.
Did he really? Oh, damn.
Yeah, he hired Shute.
3-0. Hey, what do you know? So I mean, look, trust Mike Smith. If nothing else, I mean, I gotta trust Mike Smith to get the job done at this point. I mean, he's proven it. He's gotten it done.
Facts.
Yeah. Jens P ask another question. Does FAMU Athletics ever produce a revenue sources report? And if yes, how much do we generate in sponsorships?
They present it to they have to present it to the board of trustees. But I don't think I don't know how often it is. But revenue sources reports are going to be down for the last few years. When you're talking about generated within the athletic department, if you're talking about advertising, ticket sales might be good because they've raised the ticket prices. It will appear to generate more revenue, but obviously, the cost of each security officer that you have to have at each gate, and people taking tickets and those types of things have gone up. But the numbers from ticket revenue should be up. I'm sure advertising and sales, just looking at it, you're not even broadcasting on radio, so you're losing all of that revenue. And I don't quite know how the revenue share is with the yes, and we have lost some major sponsors. Exactly right. We've lost some major sponsors,
Maybe
and
they'll come back now.
I hope. We hope. And so they do generate a report, and it should be public record acknowledgeable because they have to submit it to the board of trustees. So I would imagine on the board of trustees, they will, on the university site, when they show the meeting, they put the documents there for you to download as a PDF. So that would be probably immediately where you will find those reports.
EA with a question regarding the band budget coming out of athletics. Looking for a little clarification. Does the band budget come out of athletics? If so, can that be changed to academic/student services to help the athletics budget?
The band budget has been bounced around campus like a ping pong ball. I have no idea where it is right now, but I know some contracts include the band. So at that point, the money will come through athletics. But
what's standard? What's standard within the athletic community? I know some people hate when we do this, but what does Florida State do? What does Florida do? What is UCF? What happens at those state institutions with their band?
I know Texas Southern, the athletic director, I think he's the only one who the band actually falls up under the auspices of the athletic director at Texas Southern. I think that's the only HBCU like that.
So I'm gonna answer this question a little bit. The devil's in the details. The contracts generally with football guarantee games are $50,000. So that's a turnaround trip for the band. If you want to, do a 2-night and the things that how our band travels with the size they are, it's not going to be covered with the guarantees from the guarantee game. Now the classics, they do have a budget for band travel and accommodations. But in terms of how, when they move and the university has to pay for it, as Vaughn indicated, they pull the resources from a lot of places, auxiliary funded. And yes, that auxiliary funded can come from in auxiliary housing or athletics included.
I think this will be the last one. I think this is I'm going to put a pin on it here because I love these questions. Vaughn, you think we can get back in the OBC, the Orange Blossom Classic, now that South Carolina State had to reschedule our 2025 matchup?
I love the Orange Blossom Classic. Restarting it, and the Orange Blossom Classic is just not right without FAMU. I mean, it just makes no sense. FAMU needs the opportunity to be in South Florida with all those athletes, with all those great students, with those band students. We need the opportunity to take the FAMU recruiting machine down there, as well as the football team and the band and so many alums from down there. I wish we would get back in the Orange Blossom Classic. I don't know the dynamics of what happened once we left, how long a contract they signed externally of FAMU. I know there's some bad blood there because Kendra Bullock bent over backwards to not only get FAMU in, but to keep FAMU, and we were not very cordial at the end. So, but I believe that bridge can be repaired, and that it would be a good opportunity to go back across that because, like I said, the game just doesn't even seem right without FAMU playing in it.
Go ahead, Kelvin. I know you want to say it. Come on now. You gonna say it or I'm gonna say it? Go ahead and say it, Kelvin.
No. I've been quiet most of the day. I'm gonna stay quiet. You go ahead.
Oh, my. Kelvin wants to be quiet. Unbelievable. All right. Well, I think it'll be back sooner than later. Put it like that. That's the most I'll say. I think there's an opportunity for it to come back. So we'll wish them well, though. I know we're planning on being down there, even though FAMU won't be playing in it, and so just for the survival of the event, I want it to do well down in South Florida, and then it just kind of sets it up. Hopefully, when we can come back, next year, whatever, that it makes it enticing. So, all right, Vaughn, you want to share any thoughts from 220 Club as it relates to football before we wrap it up with you? Obviously, again, 10 days away. I thought I pulled some interesting nuggets from Coach Burris in his.
Isn't he sharp?
Hey, I thought that might have been the first time that we've heard from Burris, if I'm not mistaken, outside of maybe some post-game stuff, videos that you and the other folks who were there for practices. But I think that was his. Was that his?
No, that was his second time there. But he Coach basically just introduced him. That was his first time actually being able to address the 220 Quarterback Club. And my first thought was, man, this guy needs to be on TV. I mean, he was articulate and his diction of football terms. He was just great to listen to. Very knowledgeable, very personable guy.
Got a future, doesn't it sound like he's got a future somewhere?
Yeah, he does. I hope we can keep him for a long time, but I just he just seems like a bigger than life voice. I know the quarterbacks, his reputation as both a player and a coach in Canadian League. We're lucky to have him.
Yeah.
And I've watched him work with our quarterbacks, and they're getting some good training. Let me tell you, when I go to practice, I am very impressed. First off, I'm 6'3.5", but when I walk by that offensive line, I can't see nothing. I can't see nothing. Wide over, under. Those jokers are big, and it's like a herd.
Yeah.
And so to me, the quarterback battle, to me, is important and it ain't important because I really think this year is smash mouth football time. That's in my opinion. You got some good sized backs, and with that line, them defensive linemen will be running from our offensive line by the third quarter.
Yeah.
If I heard the comment from Coach Burris when he talked about a top four, he mentioned, of course, Daniel Richardson, Junior Muratovic, redshirt sophomore Bryson Martin, who transferred from Miami, and redshirt junior Austin Hooker, who transferred from A&T. Did I heard that correct? Top 4 right there.
I think he had Hooker and the guy from Miami reverse.
Martin. Okay, so Hooker 3, Martin 4, huh?
Let me tell you, technique and mechanics, that Hooker kid is special, man. He has some mechanics out of this world. So while it looks like the races between Junior and Daniel, and they have been literally going back and forth, it's gonna be interesting where Hooker, because he's learning the system now, and that joker will take off, but he's got some great quarterback mechanics. So we'll see. Like I said, we've got a great quarterback room. So we got a great tight end room and a great offensive line room, and great.
Should be a pretty good offense.
And listen,
Sound like we got a good house.
That Westmoreland, every time Coach Cosley don't realize it, every time he's come there, he's talked about this kid. So I can't wait to see him play.
So go ahead and throw your hat in the ring. Who's your QB1? Who's your guest starting week 1, Vaughn? Come on, you probably see more of these guys than anybody here on this panel right now.
Since it's so close and neck, and see, I've never been a coach and I'm not good, and so I know my lane. So I'm just making an assessment. Since they're so close, I would think Junior would get the nod because he's run the offense before. But I just know the leash is short because you have a player that can bring something different to the game. So that's my very sorry analysis that I think Junior will get the lead. That's all I can think of, that, because they're so even. And Junior does have a little bit better understanding of the offense and the personnel. But Daniel Richardson is special. He really is special as well.
He's not giving any opinion there, Edwin. You're not going to get kicked out of practice, I promise. Kelvin, you care to share publicly your opinion? I know we talked about it on Saturday.
Yeah, I think the team's out there practicing now.
Nice.
But I'm gonna go opposite of Vaughn, and I'm there's no inside information. Ain't nobody told me nothing from practice. But I think the production of Richardson and the experience he has starting is going to give him the edge if it's even. I mean, he's got more tools in his toolbox. He can take off running,
and he has done that during practice.
He gives you a little bit more leeway.
Yeah, I'm Drew. I don't know. Do you have, before I say mine? Do you have you been paying attention enough to throw a penny in one of those buckets?
See, Gerald threw his 2 cents in. He says he knows nothing.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna ask Gerald because I don't want to get his credentials stripped. So.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Richardson only has 1 year of eligibility left, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You don't bring Richardson in with 1 year of eligibility if you don't plan on starting him. Right. That's just from the outside looking in.
I'm of that same mindset as well. Kind of just my thought. I think Richardson has the numbers and the experience. That's the part that excites me. The fact that he has the experience under him. And again, for me, the opportunity I thought that Muratovic had against still Lincoln, California, I can't get that out of my head. It wasn't as dominating as it should have been. And so, week 1, I want look, and I'm on record as saying I would love to see both quarterbacks get an opportunity against Norfolk State. I might be rare in that. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, no."
Coach came to the table, Bryan.
I know.
Tell you about that.
I know.
What did the coach tell you about that when he came to the table?
I'm still holding on my opinion. I know it worked. I know even what Coach Joe used to do worked. Where Coach Joe had a starter 1 week and had a starter the next week, and then by golly, by week 3 or 4, you knew who the man was, and you go off and win 10, 11 games. It works. It can work if you have a tight competition, and I just think we got a tight competition. So,
But here's the one thing, Bryan. The fan favorite is always the backup quarterback.
Well, yeah, definitely that. All right. Anything we left off, Vaughn, that you wanted to get in and share with us?
No, I just thank all the Rattlers who gave us a big boost today. We needed some excitement. The last few days were kind of down and uncertain, but it was just something about getting in that room at the 220 quarterback club. All that went aside, and we had a spirited day today. It was a packed house. It was over 100 people at the 220 quarterback club today. We normally have around 60. So, we were glad to be a part of that, and we hope people continue to support what we're trying to do to support FAMU Athletics. Listen, until FAMU Athletics can figure out how to get their money machine going, that's one of our responsibilities, to try to help them fill in the gap until they can figure out the big picture of how to sustain a good financial footing for athletics.
All right. HBCUGameDay.com. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to stay up to date on all the info from Vaughn. Vaughn, give out your Twitter handle, because you dropped that nugget on Twitter, and I don't, I'm like, of all the social media handles, that's probably the one I think you use the least.
Listen, they make me use Twitter. I'm not a Twitter X guy, but they make me use it, and I really saw the value of it because that tweet went everywhere. Those tweets went everywhere. They really did. So maybe I'll use it more. I just got enough social media in my life, but maybe I'll use it as a one way. I'll only tweet out. I'm not gonna go on there and read stuff, but it's VR Wilson. VR Wilson 52 is at VR Wilson 52 on Twitter X.
All right. Vaughn Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate all your time and appreciate all the perspective you gave. It's always great to be able to get you on the show, and you've always got great perspective and unique thoughts, and really appreciate you kind of just letting us get behind the scenes stuff, and how the sauce is made, and so that's very appreciated.
Okay, Bryan, I got one nugget for your fans.
Okay, go ahead. We got some breaking news. Hold on, where's my breaking news?
I'm releasing it here first.
All right.
HBCU Game Day last year was hired by the Florida Classic to provide content leading up to the Florida Classic. This year, we're producing a documentary. It's called Billy and Shine. It's about the 8 years that Billy Joe was FAMU's head coach and Alvin Wyatt was Bethune-Cookman's head coach. Averaged 68,500. It's called Billy and Shine. You can best believe I laugh every time I get with Coach Joe or Shine to do an interview. We got some of the bigger interviews coming up and that sort of thing. But that to me, I hope it's my best work I ever did because the story is huge.
Are they going to be in the same room? Are you going to have them in the same room?
They become friends now. They've gotten past the silly Joe and all. That's a whole story within itself. But it's always great to see. Listen, I sit there with Coach Joe, and we can sit and record an hour worth of stuff And then I'm still sitting there 3 hours later, and I'm like, why did I ever turn the camera off? You know, he's amazing to talk to. Wyatt is a fun guy, man. He's still just as fun and as he's ever been. So I think to bring that together, and there's something that happened in that series that nobody knows what happened, but we're gonna reveal it in this documentary.
Uh-oh.
When is that coming out?
We're probably gonna do a mid-October release of that.
Vaughn, you should have made Shine put on one of them shelves, linen suit.
I tried to get him to give me one of them belt buckles.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Give it, and you said that'll come out when again? Give that.
That'll come out probably mid-October, leading right into. We'll have more content on the road to the Florida Classic before that. You know, Bethune-Cookman's arranger has been there for about 50 years. And of course, Shayla James has been with the March 100 for 60, I believe. So we're going to highlight those guys. That's one piece. The other piece is on the football teams, but the actual long form documentary, which will probably be an hour, Billy and Shine. I just can't wait. I'm just wondering what I'm gonna cut to get it down to an hour, man. There's a lot there. HBCU wise,
2 parts. How about a 2-part?
It might have to be
specials. Yeah,
because a lot of people don't know that Billy Joe was Joe Namath's running back on their championship when he guaranteed that. Billy Joe was Joe Namath's running back.
Yeah.
And Shine, when he played with the Oakland Raiders, he was roommates with Carl Weathers.
Look at that. My
goodness. Man, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Those two and that history, it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Hey Vaughn, can the Black Collar Sports Network just have whatever you leave on the cutting room floor? We'll take it over.
You know it's gonna be some goodies that are not gonna make it.
Exactly. That's right. We'll take the leftover.
Yeah, you gotta make sure to come on the show before releases, Vaughn.
Absolutely will. Absolutely. Listen, I'm gonna probably bring them on the show with me, both of them.
Okay.
You got it. That would be hot.
We're going to do a tour to make sure we get this thing out there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to arrange. I'm going to look at the Wednesday before it comes out, and I'm going to have both of them on.
Man, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. All right. Well, that sounds like something to really look forward to. And again, Florida Classic should be a good event. We'll see what BCU looks like this year. We'll see if a lot of people have high expectations of a much improved season. So we'll see what those cats got in store for.
I saw them.
Yeah,
they look way more athletic now. Yeah. They didn't have a quarterback in the spring, but apparently they got one in, so they could make some noise in the SWAC. I wouldn't look at last year's team as this team. It's a totally different. It's a more athletic team. They're large. I remember when I went to the spring game last year, they looked like a bad high school team. Mm-hmm. And I was surprised that Woody was able to even win 3 games with them. But this team that I saw this past spring when we covered their spring game, much bigger, much more athletic, but they still didn't have a quarterback. But they have a quarterback in now, so that could get interesting.
All right, Vaughn. Thank you for everything. Thank you for all you do, and we'll talk soon. Get some much needed rest. Hopefully you'll get a few hours.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work at game day.
I appreciate you, brother.
All right, Vaughn Wilson, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to hit him up on social. Make sure to follow HBCUGameDay.com. Whether you're watching or reading the content, it's much appreciated. All right, Vaughn, take care.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right. Vaughn Wilson, ladies and gentlemen. All right, but before we close out the show, I gotta show a few pictures from this past weekend. Obviously, we started the show with the interview that we had with AD Tiffany-Dawn Sykes. I worked to set that up. The reason I played that at the beginning is I worked to set that up, going all the way back to SWAC Media Day. Okay, so just to kind of, and I kind of, you don't even know. AD, she's not a, she keeps things close to the vest. Wants to control the narrative. Wants to, and so I wanted to try to get an interview, try to get her to come on and talk to the show. Obviously, we had her on during the what was that when we had her Celebration Bowl Media Day, right? And so I at the end, and Kelvin will know, because as we were trying to make our way, I had to wait. How long did I wait, Kelvin, to kind of let her know where we were? About a good 10 minutes. I don't know. It was Kelvin.
But she walked right past us, and then that was like her first stop, though.
Well, that's my point. See, I'm telling you, all I'm saying is I set it up. I had set it up. I put in some time. Kelvin was like,
"You put in the earring." That's what you did.
Kelvin was like, "No, I didn't have the earrings on. Stop it." Kelvin was like, "Come on, man, we got to go." Kelvin was like, "I got places to go. You messing around." But I said, "No, I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna let her know whenever she's ready to come up there, where we were set up. Bada boom, bada bing, made it happen." So I wanted to put that out there. But here's a couple photos from Fan Day, and I mean, if this was a caption, look, you don't understand. Dr. Lori did her best to find out who QB1 was. I mean, she couldn't have been more engaging, friendly. She had to look Coach Cozy dead in his eyes to find out, Coach, who is going to be quarterback one. And I tell you what, somehow, Coach, he held strong, man.
He finally was able to pry his hand away from her.
Yeah, because I was gonna say
she wasn't gonna let it go.
She started squeezing his hand.
That was probably about 2 minutes in. That handshake was about 2 minutes long. Maybe a little longer. And right here on the right is Meredith. Shout out to Meredith in the chat. And Meredith is dying laughing. You can see Meredith's expression. Meredith is watching all this go down. And tell the truth, Meredith, that was about a 2 to 3 minute handshake. Cozy was like, man, I somehow I cannot give away who QB1 is, but man, he held strong. So God bless it. God bless Coach Cozy, man. And shout out to Dr. Lori Wilson Investments. Appreciate Doc for sponsoring the table for us. See, even Kelvin was even trying to get in there and try to find out from Coach Cozy.
Kelvin just dapped him up. Like, come on, man.
I'm just messing. I know. I just thought I'd put that out there. And then, of course, there's our illustrious table at Boosters, going from left all around the table. Obviously, you see Dr. Lori. Then you see Meredith. Then you see AD. Then you see Tamara T. For those of you in the chat, there's me, Kelvin, Marcus JY, Marcus who's also a JBN subscriber. And then that's Wally Williams, former NFL player, FAMU legend, former FAMU football player. Wally Williams came to join us as well. So that was our table of 8 that we had at the FAMU Fan Day. So really great event, great job by the boosters, Selvin Cobb. It was really cool. We saw the volleyball team come through. They look great. They look like champions. Then we got to see the football team come through as well. I mean, it really was an event, and I would encourage
Don't
really,
Don't forget the section leaders of the 100.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. We had the cheerleaders as well. We had the 100 section leaders for the 100 that were there. They were all taken care of. Everyone ate. All the student athletes and the band members were fed. So it was a really first class event, and I just want to say congratulations and thank you to the boosters, FAMU Rattler boosters. I want to still encourage you guys to go and you can you can become a member of the Booster Club. But hopefully everybody who was in that building is a booster. And if everybody, besides just buying the tables, if everybody who was in the building is a Booster Club member, that money will go a long way. It'll do a lot of great things for FAMU athletics. So, yeah. You got Kelvin, want to add anything there? Or Drew, want to add anything?
Go ahead, Drew.
I was gonna say, outside the weather, because true story. When we went to go get ready to set up for the live show that a lot of you guys watched, the Skies decided that they wanted to open up, and I'm not gonna say who it was, but it was like, you can't walk out and go get the equipment, bro. You crazy? It's raining out here. It's gonna take me where I had to park at. It was gonna take me 3 trips. So Bryan volunteered, well, more like was voluntold to walk with me to my car to go get the equipment so that we can set up for the live broadcast. So, but yeah, other than that, I mean, we had fun, and kudos. The one thing that y'all don't realize when we do it live, you gotta have somebody like Dr. Lori, who was just snatching athletes left and right. Like, come on over here and talk. And talk to people. You always have to have that extra, that runner or somebody just start pulling people in for the interviews and everything. So thank you, Dr. Lori, for stepping up and handling that for us. Because without that, we probably would have been on the air 15 minutes.
Yeah, good stuff. We talked to a couple of freshman cheerleaders who were they've only been on campus for maybe a month. We talked to less than a month. Got a volleyball player who we started the interview with, and then they were taking a team photo, a group photo,
and she snuck away.
Yeah, she snuck away. Smart girl. She was like, "Okay, thank you. Hey, hello, I'm out." And got a few football players. Jamari Gassett, Kendall Bowler, Alan Smith.
Volleyball coaching staff.
Yeah, and then we had Coach Gokhan, we had Coach Rice come by. We had Will Yeomans, he's not only over the Florida Region National Alumni, but also the boosters. Selvin Cobb, Mr. Booster president himself, came on. So
Cantfield.
Coach Canfield, our assistant coach of the year, our inaugural assistant coach of the year from the ONG Awards. We finally got a chance to meet and talk to him. I saw Dominique Washington, our MVP, 2-time SWAC MVP. She is now a part of the staff. That's one of the big stories I think that we got out of it.
Paid coaching staff.
Yeah, that now volleyball has 2 more full-time. So they have a total of
4.
Oh, so there's a total of 4 assistant coaches.
No,
it's
total.
Oh, coaches. It used to be just Coach Gokhan and Coach Canfield. And now you added Scroggins and Dominique. So that is why I think Coach is really, really excited about this team, because just more eyes there to help the team out. Really loaded team. So this is they're excited about this season. What else? Anything else I missed here anything else that you wanted to get out before we wrap up and shut it down for tonight, guys?
Don't forget about next Friday in Atlanta, the Black College Sports Network.
Yeah. Doggone. I thank you for reminding me. I'm trying to see. Let me see how quickly I can pull up that graphic. If it's where I hope it is.
While you looking, I'm headed to Tampa this weekend. Tampa Bay Rays, FAMU Day. I'm going to get my Tampa Bay FAMU hat.
Okay. Let me see what happened here. Okay, I have to take a look at why for folks who might have been watching us on our Facebook feed, our ONG feed. I don't know, something happened there, but we were still streaming in another site. I don't know what happened. Yeah, that's what Kelvin. You're talking about that right there.
Yes.
Okay. So that's happening this weekend. Still an opportunity. I think you guys have until tomorrow. So if you're interested, you have until tomorrow night to go to raisebaseball.com/FAMU and get that cool hat and be at that event. That'll be nice. That'll be nice. And I did talk to Mike Reed today, and he told me we're down to maybe the last handful, 2 handfuls of tickets for our club level seats at next. Look here, it's funny saying this, guys. Next Saturday's MEAC SWAC Challenge, literally next Saturday, 10 days away from the opening of the season. Club level seats, $79. Use the code StrikeZone. Use the code StrikeZone. Jen, what's sold out? Jen said it's sold out. Is the game sold out?
Maybe talking about the allotment of tickets. No, the Rays never sell out. So the game
wait a
is
minute.
definitely not.
So wait a minute, Jen, you gotta tell me, what are we talking about? What we're talking about right now, or are we talking? Well, okay, so maybe the Rays tickets are sold out. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get some more clarification on that. The FAMU allotment for the MEAC SWAC Challenge.
Oh, hell, there's plenty of Norfolk State seats left. Just go sit on this side.
Yeah, the section is right there. Now, that side is the Norfolk State side, quote unquote. But anyway, the club level seats that are available for $79 are right there in that section. So shaded area, $79 again. $79, justlookingout.com. Use the code StrikeZone at checkout. And just to clarify, the Tampa Bay game.
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay game is what is
the allotment of tickets with the hat is what he's talking about.
Man. Okay. Yikes. Okay. And 80 Drew, one more reminder here. We got the flyer up. Okay. Next Friday. Again, this is coming up soon. Next Friday. Come join us. The BCSN Game Time pre-show, pre-game, pre-live at Bullpen Ribs and Barbecue. So not only will Drew and I will be there, the Black College Sports Network team of folks will be there 4 p.m. to 7 o'clock. Now, this is a very convenient location. I don't know how I can really explain this any better, but Pollard Boulevard is the street that is right directly next to the stadium, right between the interstate and the stadium. So literally, if you're coming off of the interstate heading towards the stadium, that first street is Pollard Boulevard, and you head, I guess that would be south, away from the old Hank Aaron Braves Stadium. Not even a half mile. It's still like literally from the parking lot of Bullpen Ribs and Barbecue, you can see the side of Center Park Stadium. So you could not have asked for a more convenient location to have a tailgate. We will be there from 4 to 7 p.m. The food is good. The atmosphere will be great. We're definitely going to do a pre-show from that. So before you go, party in some other locations, come over to Bullpen Ribs and Barbecue. If you are following us on social media, we've been posting out some notifications on our Facebook handles and things like that. So please make a point to come join us. Yeah?
Yeah. Well, come join y'all. I won't be there Friday night. I'll be at the FAMU volleyball game Friday night.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll see you Saturday, though.
Yes.
All right. Good stuff. I think that's going to do it for tonight, guys. Again, maybe catch us on Sunday. Drew put together a great timeline of just the past 2 years for AD Sykes. If you're interested and curious of what that looks like, come join us on Sunday and see what that is. But I'll give you a chance. Any final words, Drew, as we close up tonight?
I just want us to get our likes up.
Hit the thumbs up, please. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the like button, folks. Please go ahead and hit the thumbs up and the like button. Kelvin, final words.
Volleyball and football season and track cross country starts. Well, football and volleyball start next week. I think cross country is still 2 weeks out. But it's time, baby.
Cross country starts after the holiday.
Yeah. It's a couple of weeks out. But it's time, baby. It's time for the champs. We returning, baby. Next week is all about football and volleyball next week, baby.
Yeah, we'll definitely spend a lot of time on next week's show, preseason volleyball, preseason football conversation, and things of that nature. So we'll see. Who knows? We're still out there working to try to set up some future shows. Not only get Coach Smith on, or AD Smith now. Also, we've been talking to Coach Creary. Hopefully, we'll have him on before the basketball media days. Talked to Coach Gordon. She's eager and ready to come on the show before heading to SWAC media days. She's excited about her team. So we got some coaches that we want to definitely bring on the show, and so we'll be doing that as well in the upcoming week. So you guys stay tuned. I will just close by saying to my Spartan sister, thank you. I know it was good for a short time, not a long time, and I wish AD Sykes all the best in her future endeavors. And I know she'll grow, and she'll be. This will just be an experience that'll make her better at wherever she goes from here. So thank you for your time. EA, be quiet. Don't put that up there. Don't.
That was cool. Great one, though.
Don't put that up there. Take that down. I'm gonna EA. You so messy. You're so messy. All right. That's gonna do it for tonight's show. I'm gonna keep my Twitter profile picture of me and AD Sykes. I ain't getting rid of that just yet. We were at our best on that day. That's all I'm gonna say. So I'm gonna just hold on to that photo. Memories. All right, guys. That's gonna do it. Things up. Be strong. Thanks again to Mr. Campbell, Mr. Steve Campbell. Thanks again to Vaughn Wilson, HBCU Game Day. Go check out their content and always continue to support the family. Tomorrow night, I think Fangs Up Podcast, Keith will be running tomorrow night. So make sure to check that out. Always be a part of the FAMU Rattler Boosters if you can, when you can. And also make sure to go check out fangexchange.com. A lot of opportunities, a lot of places for you to go and support and be a part of FAMU. And you don't have to, if you don't have a lot, even a little. Every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. So, for Marcus Green, who's not here, we're thinking about you, buddy. Hopefully, we will see you next week. For AD Drew and Kelvin Rozier, I'm Bryan Fulford. Thank you for watching the O&G Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network. Make sure to share the show with your family and go check out the BCSN Pod Zone everywhere you listen and download the podcast. BCSN Pod Zone. That's going to do it for tonight, guys. Be well. Peace out.
Travel light. We'll holler.
Thank you.